22nd, 2022. The time is now 9:35. I call to order the regular meeting of the Birmingham City Council. At this time, we'll have the invocation led by Pastor Chris Erskine of the Movement Fellowship Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilor LaTanya Tate. If you'll please stand, thank you.
Good morning. Let us pray. This is the day that the Lord has made. We choose to rejoice and to be glad in it. Father, we bless and honor your name on today. We pause to praise that you are God and you are God alone. Thank you for your goodness and your greatness unto us. There's never a minute or a moment of our lives when we've ever needed you that you were not present for us. Thank you for assuring us that assistance is always available. Today, our beloved city of Birmingham is faced with concerns and challenges. Today, our citizens need our city leadership more than ever. I pray that you will guide them through every decision that they will make today and the days to come. Provide our leaders with the acumen to address each concern and the attentiveness to apply solutions to each challenge. We pray for your mercy today. We pray for your grace today. Overwhelm us with your love that equips us to respect and revere every person as we desire to be treated ourselves. Constantly remind us that we are privileged to serve. We're here to ensure that the empowerment is provided to those who need it, to uplift those who feel defeated by life's constant vicissitudes, and to lend our voices to magnify every injustice and to cover every citizen of our city with love and understanding. Be with each of our counselors on today, Councilor Woods and Williams, Abbott and Moore, O'Quinn and Smitherman, our Council President, Alexander, Councilor Clark, and Councilor Tate, and forever provide wisdom and encouragement to our beloved Mayor Whiffen and his staff. We trust you now for absolutely everything that we need. It is in your name that we declare these things already done. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Clerk. Would you call the roll?
Morning. Council Member Abbott.
Present.
Council Member Clark.
Present.
Council Member Ward.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Council Member O'Quinn. Good morning. Morning. Council Member Tate.
Good morning, present.
Morning. Council Member Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning. Council Member Woods. Council President Pro Tem Smitherman.
Good morning.
Good morning. Council President Alexander.
Present. Good morning. Thank you. At this time, councilors, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting of November 2nd, 2021.
Second.
Okay, I got Council Member Clark for the motion and Council Member Smitherman for the second.
No.
Somebody did.
Well, it was Williams and Moore.
Okay. Voting has started. All right, that vote should be up.
All right, thank you, council. Those minutes are approved. The minutes are not ready for November 9th, 2021 through March 8th, 2022. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Madam President.
Working?
I don't think it's plugged up.
I don't think anything's working.
Yeah, I don't think the mic on the podium is plugged in at the bottom. There you go.
There.
Good morning. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize for that. They didn't tell me ahead of time I'll be freestyling on the mic today. I got a few reports, Madam President of the Council. It's good to see you all. I hope you all had a good, I hope the National League of Cities was good to y'all and that it was productive. I want to start with a program called Page Pals, and at this time I want to bring the superintendent of schools in, as well as his team, and a third grader up. I think many of you all know that the state passed a bill a few years ago that was supposed to go into effect this year, that if third graders were not reading at grade level, that then they would automatically be held behind, which I think is unacceptable. I think we also know, if you don't know, according to the state of Alabama Comprehensive Assessment Program, only 51% of Alabama third graders are reading at grade level, again, which is unacceptable. But at the same time, that's a very sobering statistic. And so for us to combat that, we've been engaging the school system. We've been talking to the superintendent and his staff. This has been led by Galvin Billups and his team, which y'all can come up as well at Division of Youth Services. And the whole notion is, we know our teachers work very hard in the classroom, but we want to create some incentives and drive reading outside of the classroom. And so what Page Pals looks to do is encourage reading outside of the classroom and inside of our homes by at least 15 minutes, 3 days a week. Birmingham City teachers and libraries are on board to help this very important cause, and I want to stop and pause and thank the superintendent for lending your team and partnering with the city of Birmingham for that, and I'll pass this mic to you in a minute. And for their hard work, which I'm pointing to these very successful third graders right here, that we will be rewarding these young readers with some very cool prizes for them and their families to enjoy, just as an incentive to encourage increasing third graders to be able to read at a minimum at grade level. Now, there's more information you can get, but really the biggest thing I want to drive today is that we want all adults to get involved, not just parents with their children, but mentors and uncles and aunts and big brothers and big sisters and organizations and faith-based organizations in the private sector. We want to encourage all the adults in our community to find ways to, whether it's the middle school or elementary school you went to, go back and give back time, find the ways outside of the classroom, in a neighborhood, in the community, at a rec center, at a library, to encourage our young people to read, more importantly, read with them. So for more information, please visit bhamyouthfirst.org. Again, that's bhamyouthfirst.org, or call Youth Services at 205-320-0879. Again, the Division of Youth Services is 205-320-0879. And before I read this proclamation, Madam President, I did want the superintendent to say a few words, as well as allow him to introduce his students today.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Sullivan.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Mayor, and thank you, Madam President. Thank you, members of the City Council. As we came out of the pandemic, one of the things that we recognized was there was enormous learning loss that students experienced. So early on, I talked to the mayor about, this is an effort that's beyond just the school system, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. Our test scores indicated that our students were behind academically in both math and in reading. We know that the state of Alabama passed a bill a few years ago which says that third graders had to be reading on grade level. If they didn't, they would have to repeat the grade. In the course of this pandemic last year, that provision was put on pause. We don't know whether it will be put on pause this year. So I talked to the mayor and said, this is a community effort. And I'll tell you, our mayor worked with the Division of Youth Service to put together a plan, a program, Page Turners, which incorporates the community to support our students as they learn to read in school and out of school. So I say to the City of Birmingham and to the Mayor of the Division of Youth Services, thank you for your support of the students of the City of Birmingham. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to my little ones. If you would tell them what your name is, what grade you're in, and what school you attend.
My name is London Murphy, and I'm in 3rd grade, and I go to Togo Elementary.
Maybe a basketball player pretty soon.
My name is Daniel Diaz. I'm in 3rd grade, and I'm in.
This is Ms.
Wonderful.
Jackson. She is the principal over there at Tuggle Elementary School, and I brought our academic officer, Dr. Jermaine Dawson. Ms. Mayor, I'm going to turn it back over to you and Ms. Billups. Ms. Billups.
Good morning, Mayor and Superintendent, to Madam President, to the entire City Council, and to all of the citizens we have united in this room. I'm Galvin Billups, and I have the pleasure of serving as Executive Director for the Mayor's Office Division of Youth Services. And this is entirely the work of the teams coming together at the request of these two gentlemen to make sure that we provide the support around the students. We understand that reading is not just a school activity, but it is a school, community, and a family activity. And so what this does is just helps us to advance the conversation around Alabama Literacy Act, make sure that we unite as a community to provide the support through our rec centers and our libraries and our traditional after-school settings to ensure that these young people have the opportunities to read and get a cool prize. I know growing up, I enjoyed Book It. That was my my claim to fame. And so we have installed in this program another way for young people to be incentivized to read. And so with that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Mayor Whiffen.
Just a note again, Madam President and Council, before I read this proclamation, Mr. Chairman of Education, Mr. J.T. Moore, I'm going to make sure that you and Mr. Billups get some time. I know we weren't able to present this to you yesterday, but truthfully, full packet wasn't ready. But I want to make sure you two go into detail because we want to engage the council, we want to amplify this and see how, as chairman, you can deploy not only your colleagues on the committee, but how you all can engage citizens in your districts to amplify this, to engage our children, especially our third graders. So thank you for that. And of course, I was told you all have received this morning as well. So thank you all for that. One last note on this, Madam President and Council, this proclamation reads, and whereas according to the State of Alabama Comprehensive Assessment Program, only 51% of Alabama third graders are reading at grade level. Whereas the City of Birmingham is partnering with the Birmingham City Schools and the community with one goal in mind, to improve student reading ability. And whereas Page Pals is a reading incentive program designed to produce more effective third grade students, readers, both inside and outside of the classroom. Students in kindergarten through 5th grade are also given a chance to compete for a prize. For amassing the most reading minutes, one class from each of the above mentioned grades will be awarded lunch with a local celebrity. And whereas it looks to encourage reading outside of classroom and inside of our homes by at least 15 minutes, 3 days per week. And whereas Page Pals offers Birmingham students a great opportunity to enhance their reading skills, while also being rewarded with prize incentives. Now, therefore, I, Randall L. Woodfin, Mayor of the City of Birmingham, along with the City Council and the Birmingham Board of Education, joins in improving student reading ability through an initiative called Page Pals, and I encourage total commitment across the board, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and everyone else in the community in helping our young students succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Before they leave, we do have councilors that would like to just add a few words. Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam President. I forgot you guys' names, but kudos to you all for coming before us and speaking. I don't think I could have done that at 8 years old, so congratulations. Every time you see Mayor Woodfin, you see him with a book. Mm-hmm. I know you guys know that. It's always a different book every other week. I don't know when he has time to read books, but so this is very... this is great, Mayor Woodfin, really with kids. I remember growing up, I think all of us, some type of program where we would all try to beat each other out for like a pizza party or to get some type of donuts or anything like that. So I think it's very important that we engage all partners when it comes to this because we have to support our children. We can't control what goes down in Montgomery. We really can't, but we can control what happens in our homes, in our libraries, in our recreation centers, and in our city. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan. You have been an amazing superintendent. I'm not just saying that. Between mental health and this initiative, I really think we can help to prepare our kids. And not only that, I would love for my colleagues for us to embrace this program as well. Even though the mayor brought this before us, I think it's important that the 10 of us all go all in on important issues like that for our kids. So I know Councilor Moore is going to take this and run with this on the council side. But I do have one question. I do see that West End Library isn't on here. Is there a reason for that?
So at the time, we have not gotten all of the contact information from the library. We have gotten commitment that they're going to be aboard, but we want to make sure that we drill down and get that information. So what you have before you is a schedule of events up until this time, but that will be updated as we get all of the libraries and all of the other additional recreation centers that may not be on there, their contact information and their point persons.
Okay, thank you. Just because Hemp Hill is right down the street from West End Library, so I want to make sure our kids are able to get to our service in West End.
So
thank
noted.
you.
Thank you very much, Counselor. Counselor Tate.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, Dr. Sullivan, Mr. Billups, and the principal at Tuggle Elementary. This is in my district, and this is a great opportunity. We thank you all very much for what you're doing. As Councilor Smitherman says, that we can't control what goes on in the state, and I, do a lot of state work organizing, for some good legislation to be passed. I want to thank Mayor Woodfin and President J.T. Moore is so adamant about education, and so I'm definitely on board, and my office will be reaching out to Tuggle, and kudos to you young people. And as Councilor Smith would say, we always see Mayor Woodfin with a book, and he has picked me up to start back reading, my books as well. So thank you all so much, and we stand 100% behind you all in this program. Thank you, Dr. Sullivan and Mr. Billups.
Thank you very much, and I'll close this out for us. I don't know, Councilor Moore.
Listen, this is near and dear to my heart. I know in 2019, I had an opportunity to go around to different neighborhoods with the school bus that had been converted into a mobile library because of the Alabama Literacy Act. Because my thing is, we have to find ways to take education outside of the four walls of school. We have to find ways to encourage our community leaders, our parents, to just engage in literacy. And so I'm all on board with this. I know myself, the council, the education committee, we're excited about it. We have actually, already kind of started some different things in the community with literacy, and we have more to come, and so we definitely would love to support and partner with you all. So kudos to you all.
Thank you so much. Councilor Woods.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to add, like I said, really excited about this initiative. As I think back to being one of those third graders at Sun Valley, incentive program similar to this where you could win prizes is really what pushed me and led to me falling in love with reading. And so I think this is incredible. I think is anything that we can do, literally anything that we can do to get kids to pick up books, get comfortable reading and actually want to read, because there's so much information and knowledge to be gained just by picking up those books in front of you. So really excited about it and look forward to find out how we can plug in.
Thank you, Counselor. I just also want to say to our young students that are with us today and to the principal at Tuggle, I'm so excited about this initiative. I hope that you all will just learn, and you'll be able to knock the sleeves off when they give that assessment. And I go back to, and I think of the sleeves. I think of the old golden days when I was a third grade student at Winona Elementary. School building is torn down, doesn't even exist anymore. But I'm thinking about just my experiences in reading, and reading is just so important to you. So I thank you all for being here, and we thank you, Mayor, and to Dr. Sullivan for this collaborative effort to ensure that our students are ready and that they are reading at that third grade level. So we thank you. And I echo to the council as well our commitment individually as counselors and as a team to ensure that we have the incentives out there to make this program a success. Thank you. We're going to take a few pictures. Thank you all so much. And one more.
Look, an old-fashioned camera.
I know. And we want one more. City Councilor, you coming to take a picture? Just one more, please. Thank you.
Madam President and Council, thank you for your patience on that. But that's important news, and it's important that we do that. A few more notes, Madam President and Council. As a reminder, today marks 107 days. 107 days until the World Games comes to our great city. So as you see, we are on a countdown, and time is quickly approaching. I want to thank those who are in the trenches every day, continuing to prepare from operational logistics, communications, and all other standpoints. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing for this once-in-a-lifetime event, and we'll continue to make sure we're ready. And so I want to thank everybody for working as we continue to count down on that. Weather. Well, before I talk about weather, I want to talk about this Thursday. You all have received an invite. The public has received an invite about, we're a little bit over 100 days into this second term. I know you all a few days ahead of me based on how the calendar works, your October versus my November. However, I thought it was important to still have a transition team that was led by citizens from the public to tell us what we should continue to be doing, to have a sense of urgency around the things that are important not only to this council and the administration, but to the public. So with that, I'm hoping you all can join us this Thursday at 6 p.m. For those who can't be in person, it will be on live, and we'll give more information for that. So stay tuned for more information, and look forward to us taking a deep dive and actually listening to their recommendations and report outs on what we should continue to be doing. Weather. Severe weather is predicted for later today. I think most of us know that. And I think as a community, we've gotten really, really good at sharing and over-communicating around tornadoes. But last week, when 4 inches of rain dumped into our city in less than 45 minutes, I don't think any of us were prepared for that. And I think we have to continue to over-communicate or start communicating at a higher volume around flooding. Flooding is expected because of the amount of rain that will most likely be poured into our city tonight. And so I want to implore, not the council, but along with the council, we would like to implore the public to take this threat very seriously and prepare now. And in preparing now, I think the biggest thing I want to stress is if you are out in the community, which we hope you won't be, but if you are driving, if you see standing water, please stop and turn around. I think what we have seen is too many people feel they can just drive through it and make it. But I want you all to know, and this is a staggering number to me, since January 1 of this year, since January 1 of 2022, we have had over 50 water rescues in our city. That's crazy, right? Don't attempt to drive in standing water because you don't know how deep it is. You don't know what type of debris is under there. So please, I implore you, if you see standing water, if you have to be out, in the ideal world, you won't be out in the storm. But even if the storm passes and you see standing water, please don't drive through it. And I'm asking the council to please share this with your citizens in your districts as well. And overall, Madam President, I know you and I spoke about this, but I want to say it publicly in front of your colleagues. We owe the public probably a more robust detail in the form of a town hall meeting, just all things related to our stormwater. I know it's a high interest of all 9 of you. It's a high interest to the administration. And talking with our Public Works Department and talking with our PEP department, speaking with our Capital Works Project and the Mayor's administration, where people like Don Lupo has been probably deployed to every home or commercial business that's had an issue with stormwater issues. From our topography of sitting in a bowl to our historical non-investments of over 50 years of under or disinvestments in our infrastructure, we owe our public an update on how we go forward. And the truth is, I know we all would probably want to spend a considerable amount of resources from our American Rescue dollars on this topic, but we have to look for other sources because I want you all to equate this to paving. We can't pave every street in one fiscal year. We will not be able to solve for every stormwater issue that exists in one fiscal year, but the combination of, and these are just examples, the combination of ARP funding and or infrastructure grants we can go after and or go into the bond market. This will take considerable investments. If street paving has a $50 million price tag, I imagine that the stormwater infrastructure is way higher. So this is a long-term play we'll have to make, but I think it's time for us to communicate to the public from a historical standpoint how we got here and what we need to do to come out of this. I look forward to working with you on that, and I say that publicly because I know it's of concern and interest to you, the complaints you all received last week and the complaints you've been receiving since we've been a team. We're well aware of them, and we look forward to getting monies to address those issues. One last note, and that is the gentlemen and women you see sitting on this first and second row are Birmingham police officers. I would say 100% of them today are off duty. They've decided to come here in person because they have concerns. I think their concerns are valid. If I can break this down from a more global, national, macro standpoint, officers are feeling a considerable amount of pressure or not being appreciated. I think there's a squeeze that they feel from the standpoint of recruiting classes across the nation are smaller. Birmingham is no different. And they're also in the middle of the Great Resignation. Great Resignation, which includes a significant amount of people that are eligible for retirement and are choosing to take their retirement in lieu of the coronavirus and all the other things that have been unpredictable, including our economy. And they have a right to feel squeezed, or they have a right to feel the way they feel. And I think in each fiscal year, what we have attempted to do, whether it's the cost of living adjustment, their merit pay, longevity pay, solving for their pension issues, we continue to do. But we live in a time where people are saying, I still need help and I deserve more. Collectively, they're saying we deserve more. And I want y'all to know I agree with y'all. So there's only so much I can do in the middle of a fiscal year. The next fiscal year doesn't start until July 1. But in the meantime, I'm looking to solve for what I can do prior to July 1, and I look forward to bringing that to the council. It's not just our police, our fire department, public works, and our general service employees all feel the pinch. What's unique about these men and women that you see is that they were not afforded the opportunity to take off over the last 2 years. They were not afforded some other things other employees receive because they're on the front line of public service, or public safety, that is. But as an administration, I know this council, because Madam Pro Tem, you mentioned it voluntarily 2 weeks ago in public, that our men and women deserve a raise. We as an administration agree they deserve a raise. They're going to get a raise. I wanted to say that publicly. I appreciate them being here, and I just wanted to say that in front of you all, that their issues are our issues. They're not ignored. My team, which includes HR, Chief of Staff, and others, said with Otis Luke, the FOP president, continue to have yesterday to take a deep dive on even the income and salary what our officers make. It's too low. So looking at our steps, knocking those first few steps off, how do we do that? How do we adjust that? Again, we can't do that in the middle of a fiscal year. The new fiscal year doesn't start until July 1, but all of these concerns and many others that I did not name, we are addressing. And so I just wanted to say that to y'all. I didn't want you to think they come here, sit here, and we're just ignoring their issues. That's not the case. So with that, Madam President, Council, thank you for your patience, because I know I was longer today than I usually am, but I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mayor Woodfin. We do appreciate all of the information that you shared with us today, and I want to speak on behalf of the council that we echo as well the concern to be sure that our staff are compensated appreciated, and I want you to know that we want to see that compensation and appreciation for you. Please know that just as a citizen here in Birmingham, I appreciate what you do, and I am thankful to you for the service that you give to us and to all of our employees, but most importantly for those of you that are sitting on those front rows and those rows in front of us. So thank you very much. Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to echo the mayor's sentiment and Madam President's sentiment, and thanking you guys for the service that you provide. It is obvious and apparent that while a lot of employees of the city of Birmingham got to work from home during the pandemic, that is not something that any of our first responders were able to have the luxury of doing. I know you would like to answer a domestic from home via Zoom, but that just isn't that's not a possibility. You are supported by this council, and it is apparent that, the pay scale from what this municipality provides versus what other options are in the metro area is becoming more and more desperate. It's becoming more and more divided in a bad way for the citizens of Birmingham and the Birmingham Police Department, which serve the citizens. So thank you very much for your service, and we appreciate y'all being here.
Thank you. Councilor Smitherman.
Thank you, Madam President. Mayor Wolfen left. Well, this is really directed to him, but I know he can still hear me. While we were at NLC, we did talk to EPA. I know Councilor Moore did. And so I'm publicly saying I'm going to ask for a formal request from Mayor Woodfin to have all of our partners on board for stormwater, because he is right. We got a lot of good information. I know Councilor Clark knows about that. A lot of good information about federal dollars that we can use. And we actually, I want the public to know, we actually went to talk to our federal partners as well. And I know Congresswoman Sewell said that she will help us out. So I am going to write a letter to really just get us all to the table, because it is a very big issue. I went over to the Birmingham Southern Environmental Center yesterday, colleagues, and they have this app about the weather, and they predict the weather, and they said for the city of Birmingham over the next 60 years, there would be a 70% increase in severe weather. So that's pretty much actually all of us will see it, but majority of us will live through that, which means the flooding will get worse. The heat will get worse. Actually, Mayor Wolfen's correct. We actually are in I think it's an urban heat zone. You know what I'm talking about, Mayor Wolfen? Because Atlanta is as well. And that means that we're kind of secluded. He was talking about that bowl, and so that makes it 10, 15 degrees hotter for us during the summer. And so I think employing different environmental practices, and also just everybody needs to help out. Governor Ivey, our congresswoman, our senators, like, we need help, and we need to help Mayor Woodfin with that. And I know Councilor Clark also has things with trees and our parks to help out as well. So Mayor Woodfin, I just want to know we're here to support you. Just quickly about the police, I want to thank you guys for coming today. You guys are the backbone of our city. I said this a couple of years ago. This city would not function without our police, our public works employees, park and rec employees. And I just want to say thank you for all that you all have done. You guys have a hard job. I can't even just lie. But I want you to know that we're all here to support you all and to make sure we advocate that in the upcoming budgets you guys have the equipment that you need, because you guys need equipment, right? Because the rifles are getting, they're upgrading these equipments. I mean, these guns. Make sure you guys have the salary that you need as well. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. At this time, I'm sorry. I am so sorry, Councilor Tate. Councilor Tate.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mayor Woodfin, and to the men and women of the Birmingham Police Department. I echo everything that my council colleagues and the mayor have said. Since I hit City Hall, I am a retired probation and parole officer, and I know the importance of having the things that you need when you're in the field, and the importance of the salary that comes with that. being the only African American female in a rural town called Defuniak Springs, Florida, and having to go into the field every 30 days, supervising individuals that were high risk individuals, I know the importance of what it takes and what that means to retain individuals that are out here in the field. Unfortunately, I had the opportunity that I was vested in 6 years, and I left close to 10. So I understand, and I stand, with my council colleagues to continue to elevate and advocate on the behalf of the men and women in the city, because I know this job is tough. Last week, I stepped off a plane and my nephew was gunned down. The young man that was killed in Pratt City last week. Car was shot in 22 times. So I get this. I go to bed every night thinking about ways that I, as a public safety chair, can advocate on the men and women, because I understand, I talk to Mayor Wolf and I have these conversations all the time. How can we bring our city back into a safe manner? So I want you all to know that I stand with you no matter what anybody says. Because I know what the people in this city want, and I know what I want. And I'm not going to be afraid to leave out of my house to enjoy the things that the city is investing in this city. And when my council colleague called me and tell me that students are fighting in an arena that we made a great investment in, I got a problem with that. I got a problem with what's going on in this city. So I want you to know that I'm standing, and I'm going to do everything in my power, along with these other 8 people, to make sure. Now, I had a great conversation on my trip to National League of Cities with the mayor's chief, Chaz Mitchell, and we talked about how can we retain our officers? How can we keep our good people here? Because I really believe if you didn't believe in what you were doing, you wouldn't be doing what you were doing. So from me to you all, I'm standing with you. And you got my word on that.
Thank you, Councilor Tate. At this time, Mr. Clerk, do we have any nominations of boards and agencies?
We did not receive it.
Thank you. Would you go ahead and call the consent agenda for us, please?
Okay. Consent agenda starts on page 2. Item 3 is on consent. Page 3, we have items 5, 6, 7, and 8 on consent. Item number 9 on page 7 is on consent. Page 8, item number 10 is on consent. Page 9, we have items 11 and 12 on consent. Please note that on item number 11, we're going to strike item number 82. That's item 82 on item 11. Page 10, we have item 13 on consent. Page 12, we have item 14 on consent. Page 13, we have items 15 and 16 on consent. Page 15, we have item number 17 on consent. Page 17, and we have items 18 and 19 on consent. Page 18, item number 21 is on consent. Page 19, items 24 and 25 are on consent. Page 20, we have items 26, 27, 28, and 29 on consent. Let me back up on 27 and 28 because they're not actual resolutions. We're going to change the language in items 27 and 28. On items 27 and 28, we're going to strike a resolution, and then we're going to insert receiving the notice from the Office of the City Attorney. That's on items 27 and 28. We're going to strike a resolution and note that we're receiving the notice from the Office of the City Attorney and pick up with the rest of the synopsis. So we won't take any action on those items. I'll just read them when they come up. So we'll remove those from consent. They're not resolutions. Page 21, we have items 30, 31, and 32. They should be on consent. Page 22, we have items 33, 34, 35, and 36 on consent. Page 23, we have items 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41 on consent. Page 24, we have items 42, 43, 44, 45, and 46 on consent. Page 25, we have items 47, 48, 49, 50, and 51 on consent. Page 26, items 52, 53, and 54 on consent. Page 27, items 55, 56, and 57 are on consent. Page 28, we're going to actually withdraw item number 58. Item 58 should be withdrawn, and then we have items 59, 60, and 61 on consent. And we have items 62, 63, 64, and 65 on consent. Please note the correction on item number 62. 1, 2, 3. Start third line down. We'll strike City Council administration in place, Birmingham Fire and Rescue. Strike City Council in place, Birmingham Fire and Rescue. Page 30. Items 66, 67, 68, 69, and 70 are on consent. 31, we have items 71, 72, 73, 74, and 75 on consent. We changed the dates on item number 74. If I'm correct, it's July 1st to June 30th, 2022?
Yes.
June 1st. So July 1st to June 1st. Okay. And we're going to place June 30th. June 1st to June 30th. On item 74. June 1st to June 30th. Let's see. Page 34, item 76 is on consent. Page 39, there's no consent items there. Page 40, we have item 81 on consent, but please note on item number 80, we're changing the project code. It should be DCP 102 CP 003999 -044, and I think I missed the item dealing with the, did you strike some names?
Yes.
Item
That
60.
was item 60.
Item 60. So we're going to strike some information on item 60. Let's see, we're going to strike in the amount of $50. We're going to strike that, and then we're also going to strike the GL account number. And as well, we're going to strike the GL account number. That's on item 60, Alabama League of Municipalities. We have an addendum item that should be in front of you as well.
Thank you, councilors. We do have an addendum item number 82. Councilors, at this time, are there any items that you'd like to add or delete from consent?
Madam President.
Mrs. Abbott, yes.
I don't want to add it or delete it, but item 60, did we strike in the amount of $50 and now we're just saying we're approving payment for registration?
That was my understanding.
Can y'all just repeat that change again?
To my understanding, we're striking in the amount of $50 and the GL account.
Okay, so what is the amount now? Is there no amount?
1 sec.
Madam President, Councilor Abbott, the amount for the council is $650. So the exact amount can be included.
Okay, and this is for a dinner?
Registration fee.
That's an expense from the National League of Cities that was passed to us from the Alabama League of Municipalities. And because we didn't have the invoice, we received the invoice upon our return. And originally we had this item on the agenda before, I think on March 8th, but we didn't have an invoice, so we withdrew the item because we had an amount that was not consistent with the expense.
Okay. It was just a little confusing. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abbott. I don't have any other speakers indicating any additions or deletions. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, Councilor Hunter Williams and Councilor Valerie Abbott.
I'll say it.
Motion.
Before we do the vote, I'll read the tagline if you don't mind.
Okay.
All items designated as consent are routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a council member, the mayor, or citizen interested in a public hearing so requests. If so, these items will revert to its normal place on the agenda order of business. All matters of permanent operation, that's indicated with a P, will be read. All other matters will be announced by reading the item number only. All public hearings will be announced. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Should be open. Are you out, Councilor Clark? How would you?
Yes.
All right, thank you. That vote should be up.
All right, thank you very much. The consent items are passed. If you're here for any items that were listed as consent, those have been approved, and so you're welcome to stay with us, or you can leave because your item has been approved. Thank you very much. Councilors, we do have a number of items that remain and need our approval and consideration. So without objections, I'd like to ask that the rules are suspended, or I would like to suspend the rules for our presentations. We do have 2 presentations today, and I'd like to allow them the opportunity to speak. The first presentation is presented by Councilor LaTanya Tate of District 9, and this is Douglas Wood, who is the Director of the Criminal Justice Reform Initiative, the Aspen Institute. And so Councilor Tate will introduce our presentation, and we do have 3 minutes for that. Thank you.
Mr. Douglas Woods is here today from, as Council President stated, from the Aspen Institute, and we are grateful that he traveled all the way here to make a presentation to the city. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you so much, Councilor Tate. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilor Tate. Mr. Mayor, Madam President, honorable members of the council, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Dr. Douglas Wood, Director of the Aspen Criminal Justice Reform Institute.
Can we make sure the mic is on because they can't hear you in the back?
What's going on with them? Thanks. Let's start that again.
Thank you. Apologize.
No problem. Thank you again, Councilor Tate. Mr. Mayor, Madam President, honorable members of the council, it is indeed a pleasure to be here in Birmingham. Even though I'm a native South Carolinian, it's always good to be in the state of Alabama. I was graciously asked by invitation by the Mayor's office and Councilor Tate to come here today to talk a little bit about the Aspen Institute's Justice and Governance Partnership, which is really focused on criminal justice transformation in places and jurisdictions that are mid-sized, micropolitan, and rural jurisdictions. Right now, we are working in the city of Grand Rapids. We are working in 17 of the poorest counties in my home state of South Carolina, and we hope to partner with you here in Birmingham. But I wanted to just give you a taste of what the work is about, and we'll have a much more substantive and in-depth presentation at the Public Safety Committee later this afternoon. Let me put the slides up. Okay. Next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the context, the expected real-world outcomes, how the Justice and Governance Partnership works, and the 4 stages. Next slide. So this really is about strengthening local capacities to address contemporary challenges of safety and justice within a diverse justice ecosystem. Next slide. Although the criminal justice system is made up of separate, discrete agencies, it is meant to operate and is in fact experienced as a continuum across the full spectrum of those agencies. Next slide. But the criminal justice continuum, next slide, is itself bracketed by the experience of safety and justice at the neighborhood level, both at the front end and back end of the continuum. It's at the neighborhood level that these disproportionate impacts are actually experienced. Here are the highlighted group of Northwest Tulsa neighborhoods, which is home to only 10% of the county population, but contributes to 45% of the county's prison admissions, where the highest incarceration neighborhoods are often also the highest violent crime neighborhoods. By the way, this is the Greenwood neighborhood in Tulsa. So that's years and years of overlapping inequities there. Next slide. Portraying the ecosystem of safety and justice at the neighborhood level of experience is key to our theory of change. Focusing on neighborhoods reveals important ways in which safety and justice is conditioned by other socioeconomic challenges and insecurities. So at the neighborhood level, we know that that's critically important. Next slide. Once we drive safety and justice analysis down to the neighborhood level, we can also begin to appreciate the other overlapping conditions of what I call concentrated distress that accompany the disproportionate criminal justice footprint in those neighborhoods. We're happy to see the law enforcement officers with us, but we also know that, as we all know, it can't just be law enforcement, it's all of these other overlapping conditions. So you see here the overlapping conditions here. You can find this in neighborhoods all across the country and here also in Birmingham. Next slide. Measuring overlapping concentrated distress at the neighborhood level, however, does not capture the ways in which those challenges are being met. As with crime and the use of incarceration, other conditions, as we all know, health, education, and income insecurity, are often met with what we call crisis management responses, such as emergency room health care, zero-tolerance schooling, shelter housing, income supplements, responses which, like incarceration to crime, are meant to be last resort, exceptional measures, but which have become commonplace in some neighborhoods. Next slide. Moreover, crisis management government is often perpetuated by a policy-making environment bereft of the insights and priorities of community-embedded stakeholders. Stakeholders who directly experience the socio-economically immobilizing impact of hyper-concentrated, overlapping, last-resort government responses, including punitive justice responses, which themselves are rarely informed by genuine insights and experience of frontline practitioners. So we must capture the community knowledge and expertise of community-based organizations, interest group associations, community and youth leaders, neighborhood residents, and justice system practitioners. Next slide. So most jurisdictions are not equipped to effectively address the heavy footprint of crisis management government with punitive justice at the center. So we often see these in communities across the country. Fragmented data analysis, disjointed policymaking, marginal community engagement. Next slide. So what the Justice and Governance Partnership is focused on is the notion of reducing crisis management government footprint and the criminal justice and crisis management footprint, increasing community-driven violence prevention and resident mobility networks, and leading to, hopefully, system legitimacy. So within the framework of a wider justice ecosystem, we expect to see reciprocal outcomes where an increase, next slide, in community-driven approaches is accompanied by a parallel decrease in the criminal justice footprint. Next slide. And what I mean by increased community-driven violence prevention and residency mobility networks is arriving at using data to increase community safety and violence prevention networks, cross-sector human services networks, community-based residential mobility networks. And I'll get into this later at the next presentation. And reducing the punitive justice footprint, reducing the critical healthcare footprint, reducing school discipline, reducing the residential family crisis footprint, and the substance dependency footprint. To hopefully arrive, next slide, at the expected real-world outcome of justice system legitimacy. Next slide. Now, how does this all work? I'm going to quickly go through this. We form a local justice collaborative, select a local justice intermediary, conduct what we call justice audits, and then create and implement justice reinvestment plans. Next slide. We are working with Eric Cadora, the Justice Mapping Center, who created literally created the $1 million blocks ideas. We actually looked at blocks at neighborhoods and figured out a way to use the money saved by, instead of putting people in jail and prison, by actually investing in other sort of interstitial related issues like healthcare and economics and education. So in this work, we will choose 4 components. We form a local justice collaborative, we select a local justice intermediary, we conduct what we call justice audits, and then ultimately arrive at justice reinvestment plans, all supported by a national technical assistance, a local funding collaborative, and the Aspen Justice Network. Next slide. So that means that we would form an initial local justice collaborative, which includes all of these entities, as you see, executive branch, quasi-public, health and human services, etc., which is a core component of the work. Next slide. And that ultimately we have a much larger local justice collaborative that includes a wide variety of different organizations throughout the community working to gather data and information to form the justice audit and ultimately the justice reinvestment plans. And the most important thing about it, too, is not just all the quantitative side of the work, but the qualitative side of the work, too. We believe that community-based action research is important, which means that we have to and want to interview people in the community to find out what their justice priorities are. So that will be coupled with the quantitative work. So with the justice audit, you have your inputs on the left side, communities of interest perspectives, community-based non-governmental services information, government institutional operations data, with outputs being criminal justice system operations, crisis management governance, geography of safety and justice, system legitimacy, and justice ecosystem resources. And these are just some snapshots. Oh, keep going, sorry. Just going on and talking. Next slide. That's the audit right there. You have the inputs over here and then the outputs. Next slide. And this is just a geography of safety and justice here, where the audit will register neighborhood level crime contrasted with resident access to civil society institutions and community-based networks devoted to violence mitigation, preventative health and behavioral health education and treatment, apprentices, workforce and small business development, educational tutelage and youth development, as well as domestic stability. So we're giving data on each individual neighborhood and then being able to have both the quantitative and the qualitative to come up with a justice reinvestment plan. Next slide. Okay. So the justice reinvestment plan is about coordinated policymaking and what we hope to arrive at as what we call braided social purpose budgeting. And then next slide. And I swear this is the last 2 slides. So we choose a justice intermediary to have the initial implementation work where the justice audit will be housed and where the justice reinvestment plan will be housed. And we'll work directly with the Justice Mapping Center to make sure that that's happened. And then ultimately what will happen is that then the justice, that particular, if you see on the right-hand side there, the justice audit and the justice reinvestment plan will be taken over by the local justice intermediary so that they can do it on an annual basis and have that data to present to the community on an annual basis. Okay, next slide. And then, of course, this will be a part of a national technical assistance provision with the Justice Mapping Center, Equal Measure, and also working across the different jurisdictions, including Birmingham, Grand Rapids, and in South Carolina. Next slide. And ultimately, what we want to be able to do is form a local funding collaborative here in Birmingham that is not only funded by private sources, but hopefully government sources as well, so that the justice audit and the justice reinvestment plans are actually being done on an annual basis every year, and we can actually see what's happening at the neighborhood level. Next slide. And again, as I said, this will be a part of a larger Aspen Justice Network across the various jurisdictions. We'll also be bringing on Denver after we bring on South Carolina. And hopefully we'll be working here in Birmingham as well. And these are the final stages here. Stakeholder engagement, which is what we're doing right now. JGP planning in stage 2, which is where Grand Rapids and South Carolina are. JGP initial implementation with the production of the justice audit and the justice reinvestment plan, and then sustained implementation where the local justice intermediary will take it over and produce it on an annual basis. And next slide, and that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing this information to us and introducing the Aspen Justice and Governance Partnership with the City of Birmingham. Thank you
very
so
much, Madam President.
Our next speaker is being presented by Council President Pro Tem Crystal Smitherman of District 6 and Vincent Parker of the Fox 6 station. Councilor Pro Tem.
Good morning. Vincent, are you still here? Thank you for staying. You can bring your daughter up. Come on. Yeah, it's Vincent. Yeah. Can y'all hear me? Thank you, colleagues, for allowing me this opportunity to present Vincent. He actually works for Fox 6, and so a lot of us were actually coming back from Washington, D.C. When all the flooding happened last week. And so I wanted to have a resolution because I think it was very heroic for you to risk your own life to save somebody in a moving vehicle, especially with so many lives that have been lost over the past year with flooding. So you really are an ordinary man that did an extraordinary act. So we want to salute you for having great courage in that moment when a person must perform or forever wonder when, if, that moment where God smiles on you for saving a life. So I'm going to briefly read some of it. Whereas it is the custom of the legislative body to recognize and commend the caring, concern, and heroic acts of individuals who take prompt and appropriate action in emergency situations, nobly risking their own lives to preserve the life of another, one such individual is Mr. Vincent Parker. Whereas the heroic actions of WBRC Fox 6 News photojournalist Vincent Parker are bringing some to tears after raging floodwaters swept across parts of the city and state on Wednesday, March 16, 2022. Flash flooding hit Birmingham, Alabama, putting many of its residents in harm's way. Vincent Parker also sprang into action, saving a woman from her flooded car. And he stated, "So I just put on my rain boots on and got to strutting through the water and went to get her out of the vehicle." He's still very cautious as he went through the water because her car was actually next to a light pole, which is actually very dangerous. I didn't know if her car hit the light pole. I didn't know if maybe some electricity was going on under there. So I walked to her vehicle, I got her attention, and let her know that I was coming to help her out. And Mr. Parker and the woman are both doing okay. Now there it be resolved that the Council of the City of Birmingham, with Mayor Randall L. Woodfin concurring, pauses in its deliberations to commend Mr. Vincent Parker for his life-saving heroic actions. We salute him for a job well done. Presented this 22nd day of March 2022 at the recommendation of Council President Pro Tem Crystal N. Smitherman. Thank you.
Councilor Smitherman, before he speaks, if we'll just let you do the
so move.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Now the resolution.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Parker.
I appreciate you all. This it's real odd being up here in front of you all because I've interviewed most of you all in here, but I do appreciate the honor, and I thank you, Crystal. I thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. While they're taking pictures, I believe Ms. Tate did want to offer some thanks to Mr. Wood. Thank you.
I just want to thank Dr. Douglas Woods for traveling here today and thank Mayor Woodfin and his team and this council. You have an opportunity to come to the public safety meeting to hear the full scope of this Aspen Justice and Governance, and I think it is a great opportunity for the city, and pray that we partner with this, Dr. Woods and the Aspen Institute to move this city in a safe manner, because data is so important when you're doing criminal justice work, and so in order to move things safely, we definitely need to get a full scope of what Dr. Woods was here presenting to us today. So councils, if you guys are not busy today, I would highly recommend that you all take time out your busy schedule and come to the public safety meeting today, because safety is a concern. And so, you know, we're beating the ground, finding evidence-based programs to bring into this city. And so when individuals travel from afar to come and present to us, I think it's, you know, we should show them grace and get all the knowledge that we need to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Tate. At this time, Mr. Clerk will go ahead and entertain the agenda, rest of the agenda.
Item number 1 should be the first item. An ordinance to further amend the zoning district map of the city of Birmingham, case number ZAC 2021-20, to change zone district boundaries from M2 heavy industrial district to MUD, mixed use downtown district, filed by Clay Smith. Applicant representing the owner, AGL Properties LLC, for property located at 1028 2nd Avenue South and situated in the northwest quarter of Section 2, Township 18 South, Range 3 West, in the hearing of all interested parties. Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
All right.
All right, thank you. At this time, I will allow Mrs. Abbott to conduct this hearing. So, Ms. Abbott, it's on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Gambrell, would you read our case, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Tim Gambrell. I serve as the Chief Planner for the City of Birmingham. And this is case ZAC 2021-20 in the 5 Points South neighborhood. And it's an application to change zone district boundaries from M2 Heavy Industrial District to mixed-use downtown in order to allow for a mixed-use development, including multifamily, residential, hotel, retail, outdoor space, which has been filed by Clay Smith, representing the owner, AGL Properties LLC, for property located at 1028 2nd Avenue South, situated northeast quarter, Section 2, Township 18 South, Range 3 West. The subject property sits on 1 acre of land, currently zoned M2. Abutting the subject property to the north is the Denham Building, zone mixed-use downtown. To the east of the property is the former Sherman Industrial Plant, zone mixed-use downtown. Property to the south is zoned M1 for mixed-use or for light manufacturing, and Interstate 65 is to the west of the site. The applicant is proposing a mixed-use development that will encompass properties at 1028 and 1100 2nd Avenue South. The development will include approximately 300 multifamily residential units, a 130-key hotel, 23,000 square feet of retail space, a 20,000 square foot plaza dedicated to outdoor open space, and the development will also include a parking deck for residents and visitors. Landscape hardscape improvements will be designed to preserve the existing Sherman concrete silos and an above-ground pond. Additionally, the development will include significant streetscape improvements along 12th Street South and 2nd Avenue South, including on-street parking, buffered bicycle lanes, and sidewalk zones. A mid-block pedestrian crossing zone is proposed along 12th Street South to connect this development with the Urban Supply District development. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as light industrial. The proposed long-range plan and the north side, south side framework plan identifies the property as mixed-use high. The proposed rezoning request is somewhat consistent with the current long-range land use plan and is consistent with the proposed north side, south side framework plan. All of the proposed uses are allowed in the mixed-use district. Per the ordinance, this district does not have a parking requirement. The proposed hotel on 12th Street South does not meet the setback requirement as designed for the mixed-use downtown district and would require a variance or modification to the site plan. A subdivision action is necessary to resurvey the properties into one lot. The development must meet all landscape requirements per the ordinance, soil erosion control, civil post-construction stormwater and driveway permits. A Phase 1 environmental site assessment meeting EPA standards is required. Any remediation recommended by this assessment shall be addressed. The 5 Points South Neighborhood Association met at its regular scheduled meeting on November 16, 2021, reviewed proposed project, voted to support the rezoning request. That vote was 15-0. At this time, there is no framework plan implementation committee for this area. The staff recommendation, the applicant's rezoning request is somewhat consistent with the current future land use plan and is consistent with what is proposed in the North Side, South Side framework plan, and therefore staff recommends approval of this request. The Zoning Advisory Committee met at a regular scheduled meeting on January 18, 2022 and voted to recommend approval of the request. The Planning and Zoning Committee met at its regular scheduled meeting on January 26, 2022 and also voted to recommend approval by the City Council. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Mr. Gambrell. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative here? You would come up and add to anything that Mr. Gambrell has told us.
Morning, Council. Thank you for having us today. Appreciate Tim going over the rezoning. This is somewhat of a recap. I'm Clay Smith with local planning and engineering firm Kimley Horn. We're located down the street at the Ship Tower at 420 20th Street. Here today for the proposed rezoning of 1028 2nd Avenue South from M2 Heavy Industrial to MUD Mixed Use Downtown. Here with me today is the landowner and developer Tim Larson with Residential Ventures. Also here is development partner David Ball with the Dobbins Group, as well as Kimley Horn teammates Jordan Warren and Clark Bailey. The 1028 2nd Avenue parcel is situated between the Interstate 65 bridge to the west and the Sherman Cement Plant to the east. The parcel has frontage along 2nd Avenue to the south, as well as the Denham Building parking to the north. The parcel is a former trucking yard. The landowner, Tim Larson, also owns the adjacent Sherman Cement Plant parcel. A few years ago, as Tim mentioned, he rezoned that property to MUD. Since then, he has acquired the 1028 2nd Ave parcel with plans to consolidate the two parcels for a mixed-use redevelopment. The redevelopment is planned to include approximately 300 multifamily units, ground floor retail space, and an outdoor plaza that's planned for a food and beverage experience. As mentioned, the 1028 2nd Ave parcel lies directly adjacent to the Interstate Bridge. That particular portion of the parcel is planned to encompass a structured parking deck that serves both the public and residences. A Phase 2 project is also proposed for the northeast corner of the site. That's where the mentioned hotel building lies. That particular portion of the site is TBD at the moment. The team has studied both the hotel component as well as a micro-unit residential component. The development will continue the Parkside spirit by providing significant right-of-way streetscape improvements along both the 2nd Avenue and 12th Street frontages. This will include defined on-street parking, a buffered bike lane, and sidewalk zones. Additionally, a mid-block pedestrian crossing is proposed on 12th Street to connect pedestrians to and from the urban supply redevelopment. One of the other cool things with the site are the existing features. 3 of the existing silos, along with the above-ground water reservoir, are planned to be preserved with the redevelopment. The rezoning request, as Tim mentioned, received unanimous approval from the 5 Point South Neighborhood Association, along with approval recommendations from the City's EAC Committee and the Council's P&Z Committee. Turn over to Clark, who will chat more about the urban planning.
Yeah, just wanted to note within the public right-of-way, the project intends to fulfill the Parkside Design Guideline intentions that includes the aforementioned sidewalk, street trees, landscaping, as well as buffered bike lanes and the on-street parking. And then within the site, the planned structured parking deck will hold approximately 450 spaces. And they're in the on-street parking addition, which is just on the frontage directly adjacent to the site, is approximately 30 new on-street parking spots. That we're available to answer any questions.
I think before we ask you questions, we'll hear from the public, if there are any members of the public, so that everybody's questions or comments you'll be able to address. Is there anyone here from the public who wishes to speak for or against this item? Seeing no one, and I know I attended the 5 Point South neighborhood meeting, and they did vote unanimously in favor of the project. So do any members of the council have questions they want to ask? Councilor Williams? See, I can't see.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. What did you say your timeline was? I know that there was a lot of, you have to combine properties and get easements taken care of. What's y'all's overall timeline on this project?
The intent following the rezoning is to begin what we call a demo and subdivision phase. So we'll go forward with a demolition plan and permit while also doing the consolidation with the subdivision committee.
Okay, and so what's your timeline?
So starting that this spring and then hopefully move forward with plans for permit this summer for the overall development.
And then you think a year after the summer to get it built? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Dr. O'Quinn?
Mr. Gambrell, can you speak to the street frontage and especially with respect to the desire to connect the Parkside neighborhood to the Titusville community? There's been, discussion by various entities about creating more connectivity through there, 2nd Avenue South, and in particular is looks to be one of the primary points where we can get across I-65, and beyond that, there's a question about how do you get over into Titusville. But can you just speak to, with respect to this property, what are we going to be asking for our the streetscape in that block?
Right. So I think that this is a really good partner. They've done a lot of development in urban environments and kind of get the mixed-use concept. And so, they're bringing their buildings to the street edge. They're very intentional about landscaping, wide sidewalks, buffered bike lanes, on-street parking. It'll be parallel. So they get, they're in line with kind of what we think is appropriate, for that area. Like I say, like's been mentioned, they fully intend to comply with the Parkside design standards, which deal with street trees and street lighting. That sort of thing. And so, to me, it's a perfect alignment, from, kind of theory and kind of design principle. As far as connecting to Titusville, I do think it kind of helps to create that gateway. As you know, we did adopt a, complete street ordinance that requires us to investigate, street improvements for, the ability to make complete streets, multimodal streets. Where appropriate. And, we do have staff, kind of working right now. There's a kind of a, coordinated effort between planning and BDOT to work on, finalizing a priority complete street network. And so that work is ongoing. And so those are things that we're focused on. What is the network? Where do we make connections? Where are the best places to locate those things?
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
I add to that real fast. One item I think that we want to be clear about is we're open to working with the city, and already had conversations with Freshwater Land Trust and their intentions to make that connection into Titusville. So whether that's utilizing the alley behind or some of the right-of-way in front, we're following Parkside right now, but we're open to making modifications there that would accommodate that connection between really getting Railroad Park and Titusville connected.
Anyone else? I would like to ask Mr. Gambrell, do you know who is responsible for keeping the lighting on down in that Parkside area? I know we have a Parkside design guideline that requires certain light fixtures and stuff, but who keeps them burning?
Yeah, well, if, the city, of course, went through a massive process to convert most of our lighting infrastructure to Alabama Power ownership. It just depends on who if it's under Alabama Power ownership, or if it's, I know some of the lights, I believe, at the park are different fixtures that are not in the palette of Alabama Power, and so I'm guessing that the city's responsible for those. But it really just depends on who owns the infrastructure.
Well, it would be First Avenue South, but mainly that I've noticed.
Right in front of Railroad Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those unique fixtures that are there, I believe, are city property.
Well, those particular, I'm sorry, Madam President.
Go ahead.
So those particular fixtures are part of the conversion. They would, like Mr. Gambrell said, with Alabama Power. Usually they have a yellow number on the side of them. So if you see one that's out, take a picture of it, send it to me, and I can give it to those representatives.
Okay. Well, I knew we had, really nice design guidelines down there, but following up on our design guidelines sometimes is dicey. But anyway, I believe that we are ready to vote. We have a motion, we have a proper second, and we have no more questions or comments, so I believe we're ready to take our vote.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll call for the vote.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. That item passes. Thank you very much. We look forward to this new opportunity for residents. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 2, an ordinance to further amend the zoning district map of the city of Birmingham. Case number ZAC 2021-21 to change zone district boundaries from B1 Neighborhood Business District to QMUD Qualified Mixed Use Downtown District, filed by Taylor Shoal. Applicant representing the owner, Magnolia Point LLC, for property located at 2234 Magnolia Avenue South and situated in the northwest quarter of Section 6, Township 18 South, Range 2 West, in the hearing of all interested parties. Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
All right, at this time, I'll turn this over again to our Planning and Zoning Committee Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Gambrell, will you please read our case?
Yes, ma'am. Tim Gambrell. I serve as the Chief Planner for the City of Birmingham. This is KZAC 2021-21 in the Southside neighborhood. The subject property is approximately 0.27 acres of land, currently zoned B1 Neighborhood Business District. Abutting the subject property to the north is the Vogue Cleaners, also zoned B1. To the east of the property are 2 dilapidated single-family homes, zone B1. Property to the south is zone B1 and contains an office retail building. The property to the west is zone B3 Community Business District and contains office building and parking lot, which contains retail strategies, retail specialists. The applicant is proposing to renovate and reuse the existing structure for restaurant and retail space. The anchor tenant will be the restaurant and will be located on the 23rd Street side of the building. It will be a fast casual restaurant operating for dinner only, most likely from 4 to 10 p.m. Magnolia Avenue side of the building will most likely be retail space for a small business. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as mixed-use high. Mixed-use high district designated to accommodate medium to high-density office, residential, retail, artisanal industries, and small warehouse. Ground floor uses are encouraged on desired pedestrian and sensitive streets. The proposed rezoning request is somewhat consistent with a long-range land use plan. All of the proposed uses are allowed in the mixed-use downtown district. The development must meet all landscaping requirements outlined in the city zoning ordinance. The development must comply with all requirements in the city stormwater ordinance. The 5 Points South Neighborhood Association met at its regular scheduled meeting on November 16, 2021 to review the proposed project and voted to support the rezoning request. The vote was 14 to approve and 1 to deny. Once again, this framework plan implementation committee area has not been established. The applicant's rezoning request is somewhat consistent with the future land use plan and is consistent with the development trends in the neighborhood. Staff recommends approval of this request subject to a few Q conditions. One was to limit the height of 60 feet, and the other was to restrict uses to those that are allowed in the mixed-use medium district. The Zoning Advisory Committee met a regular scheduled meeting on January 18, 2022 and voted to recommend approval of the request, including the Q conditions recommended by staff. The Planning and Zoning Committee met at its regular scheduled meeting on January 26, 2022 and voted to recommend approval to the City Council with the same Q conditions. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Is the applicant here?
Hello, good
Good morning. Taylor Scholl, Scholl Engineering, 1001 22nd Street South, Birmingham, 35205. Hope y'all can hear me okay. It's been a long road to get here, and thank y'all for the time today with all the postponements and things due to COVID. Thank y'all for getting us to this point. So Tim gave a great recap, but again, I'm here representing Magnolia Point LLC. My client Crawford Burton is here along with Jess Sirkin with Scholl. Again, we are redeveloping the Magnolia Point building located at the intersection of Magnolia Avenue and 23rd Street South, the northwest corner of the intersection, via a historic renovation. The building's address is 2234 Magnolia Avenue South. The existing building is in a general state of disrepair and has been abandoned for several years. The plan is to redevelop the building to fit a 3,000 square foot restaurant, and right now the plans call for what the market's warranting on the side of 2,000 square foot coffee shop. So maybe slightly different than what Tim said based on recent things in the market. As Tim said, the site is currently zoned B1, and we are here today requesting a rezone to MUD. The rezone to mixed-use downtown, like Tim said, is consistent with some recent rezonings in the area. The Southtown community that is east of our site was rezoned to mixed-use downtown. And again, the city's framework plan calls for a mixed-use medium, and the long-range land use plan calls for a rezone to mixed-use high. In our last meeting a month or so ago with Councilor Abbott and P&Z, the parking was brought up, and MUD obviously has no parking requirement. So I thought I'd be more proactive today and just talk about our plans for parking. So my first comment is it's physically impossible to construct parking required by code to serve an existing 5,000 square foot building of any use under the current zoning classification. Again, our clients are investing money to keep the structure as it is, renovate it, be a historical tax credit renovation project, and keep the structure. And by doing that, there's just not enough space to build parking on the site. There are 6 spaces in the current condition. We're matching that 6, meeting the city's dimensional requirements, all that stuff with the redevelopment plan. So to develop the site and get permitting processed while keeping the historic building, either a parking modification or a rezone to a classification with a lower parking burden is required. We decided a parking modification in conversations with our team and our clients was not appropriate because we were unsure of the future parking availability in Southtown. It's currently under demolition. The design plans are in the works. We really don't know what the streetscapes are going to look like, if they're going to construct parking decks, what the parking makeup of that huge piece of property just to our east. So that's why we decided that the parking modification was not appropriate. And through that process, you also have to do parking counts. It didn't seem like any of that data would be useful since nobody's living there except for in Block A, and demolition's going on now. So the parking counts really wouldn't reflect what's going to be there in a few years. As I said, there are 6 spaces on the property. In the current condition, we're going to match that with the new construction. So how are we going to address parking? Councilor Abbott made some good questions and comments and notes on that P&Z. So one important and kind of unique thing with this site is our clients, Magnolia Point LLC, the owner of that entity also owns the property next door. It's under a separate legal entity, so it's 2 different entities, but it's the same person. So we own and control the 2200 Magnolia building where Bear, Retail Specialists, Tessa, and a few other office users operate. And their uses are 8 to 5 generally. So with the restaurant use, there will be ample parking at night available. We can add directional signage. We did vacate, you may remember, we vacated a small portion of the alley that runs past Vogue. So we will construct a physical gate access connection, assuming we get things permitted, that will have a physical connection from the parking lot into our site with sidewalks and things like that for pedestrian access. There's also plenty of extra parking on the adjacent site. Current counts have about 100 spaces that on any given day are free for whomever. Scholl Engineering is pursuing a renovation of our building. We're right at the corner, and they're letting us park there during construction with 12 spaces. So they have space on that parking lot that we would like to use. We also have the ability to add bike parking racks if the city desires it. Again, the Southtown project's under design. I know there's a lot of streetscape improvements on the east side of 23rd Street with bike lanes and new pedestrian connections. So if the city desires it, we do have some space for a few bike racks for bike parking. And there is some street parking available. Again, it's subject to change as Southtown gets redeveloped. And there is a public parking deck that's just east of 5 Points. It's right at a quarter mile from our site. And again, Scholl does, we have a vested interest in the project working for the client, but we're also right down the street, our building. So if a restaurant user came down the road and we negotiated some sort of valet, we'd be willing to pursue that too. So with all that said, I think we have a plan to accommodate parking. And we are rezoning to stay consistent with recent rezonings of Southtown to MUD and the city's, generally consistent with the city's framework plan. while clearing up an existing entitlement issue that will hold up permits until resolved. So just in conclusion, with all the new development going on in this area, we hope the city values the fact that we're investing into the historical aspect of the neighborhood. So with the 2200 Magnolia redevelopment and the Magnolia Point historical renovation, we hope it will be a unique juxtaposition with the historic portion of the neighborhood with the new development coming across the street in Southtown. So that's it for me.
So can you just explain, since this is a historic renovation, a reuse of the existing building, what's the 60-foot building height limit? What is the relationship there? Because if
Maybe a question for Tim. I think the city.
there was a question at the neighborhood meeting about why.
Sure. Yeah, and so the reason we placed that on there was to kind of, we zone it to mixed use downtown. A lot of things could happen. They could put, a 200-foot building there. And so, we wanted to make sure that those conditions would assist us in modeling, what happens on that site in the future. I think that, you heard about the future land use plan, what it is now, what's proposed in the north side, south side plan. And so the north side, south side plan, looks at it as kind of a mixed use medium area. And so we wanted to model those conditions to limit the height and the uses, based on that. At the same time, I think we have the same desire, to maintain the historic character of the building. And so I think that's, what's happening to me is a preferred situation. And so, like I say, it's a 100-year-old building. I'm certain when they, finish with the facade, it's going to look like that 100-year-old building again rather than what it does now. And, it's going to be a great asset. And increase the quality of that corridor there, adjacent to the Southtown development. So, we, I think, are satisfied that this development needs to happen. And, this is kind of a little bit of a cantankerous method, for them to deal with the regulatory issues. But that's the reason for those cues, is to ensure that what happens in the future doesn't become something that we don't want.
Well, 60 feet even seemed awfully high for a one-story building.
Right. Well, I think it would be in fitting, with what's on that street otherwise. And so it fits, kind of the general area. Well, like I say, the goal is to maintain the historic building as it is. And from what I understand, that's the plan. And so, we're going to see an ordinance at P&Z on Wednesday called an adaptive reuse ordinance that has special provisions in it that would avoid this entire process. When you're protecting a historic resource, such as this building, I guess the short way to say it is we wouldn't be here right now if that ordinance was in place. They would be redeveloping this building in the manner they're going to, and the ordinance is intended to do exactly what they plan to do, is protect this historic resource, the historic character of downtown.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Are there any members of the audience who are here to speak to this item? Please introduce yourself and tell us where you live, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm Paul Godby. I live on the Southtown project, and I'm quite familiar with this building. I've been looking at it for several decades. So I was at the 5 Point South Neighborhood Association meeting when the presentation was made, and since that time, the information came out about the 60-foot height requirement. Now, this is not part of the presentation, so this is like brand new news. This causes a little bit of concern, because then this means the property, if it was ever sold to another developer, they could still use the 60-foot height to build on top of the building, regardless of what these developers are planning to do. So this jeopardizes the historic nature of the Magnolia Point, because there's the companion building directly across the street. I would suggest, since all buildings don't last forever, to currently keep the B1 and eliminate the parking requirements, or use the MUD qualified and reduce the height from 60 feet down to the current approximate 20 feet for the life of the building. This way, this will ensure that the historic nature of the building is protected. And since Mr. Gambrell just said there might be another ordinance coming up, maybe you could delay this until this ordinance is passed, and then you can reapply at that date. So there's 3 options to do to keep this historic nature of the building in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chairwoman, I have a question. I'm not sure, I may have missed it, about the stormwater situation. I saw in there, let me pull it back up, that there was a proposal for a flood study done at this intersection. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Sure. Thanks for the question. We have submitted, actually, Shoal Engineering, again, we have firsthand knowledge of what we call the Magnolia River. It's a large basin, 200 acres, fully developed, that goes up to Vulcan, almost into Homewood. So it's a really developed large basin. The infrastructure is undersized in Magnolia and in 23rd Street that runs by Southtown and by our office and the retail specialist lot and the Magnolia Point building. And the building does flood, so it's a challenge we're working through in design, while hopefully the proposal makes its way through the city. But we are, or I guess our clients and the architects are making plans to overcome the flooding in the meantime while the study hopefully comes to fruition. So there's flood-proofing doors and other things. But it is a real problem. My phone has a lot of videos from that rain last week of the flooding, and our clients were actually in the building during the rainstorm, and the water was in a couple inches deep. So it is a challenge we're trying to overcome in design. Can I speak to the comment from the, okay. One thing, just from a timing standpoint, we've been ready to go for a while, so I know that there was a request to delay things, go back through maybe a variance process or a parking modification. That's several months. Again, we've been trying to get to this meeting for some time. And I'll speak for my clients. Crawford, you can come correct me if I'm out of line, but they do, things change over time, but at this point have no plans to knock the building down and build something 6 stories or 5 stories for that 60-foot guideline. And again, the framework plan calls for an MUM, which I think has a 60-foot or so height restriction as well. I mean, it's mixed use high. So it, again, is consistent with the city's long-term land use and framework plan, generally consistent with the height restriction there. So just in the interest of keeping the project going and market, and it's time to get this project permitted if it's going to happen.
So, Mr. Gambrell, and maybe the law department, if we wanted to change that 60 feet down to 20 or 45, could we do that? Or because this has been advertised, we would have to advertise it all over again?
That's correct. If you're want to change the queue conditions, we would have to re-advertise the case. That's correct.
And then that would take more time.
A minimum of 3.
Yeah, because I'll be the first to admit that 60-foot height bothered me, because we're supposed to be doing historic preservation on this project, so why would we put 60 feet in there? It didn't make sense to anybody who heard that the city was recommending that.
Well, it's like I say, it's in character with the planning. The desire, of course, is to maintain the historic building. It's interesting, across the street, of course, Southtown's being redeveloped. You could also think urban design, generally would dictate that you would want, face-to-face kind of development on a street, so that, higher, building here would fit what's going on next door. But, once again, the desire is to maintain the historic building. I believe that's their intent. But that was kind of the logic, the thinking. Always the possibility somebody could take a building down, but I don't believe that's their desire.
Okay, one last question. If a 60-foot bill, let's say the Magnolia River washed the building away, and they wanted to build a 60-foot building, would it also have no parking requirements?
At the present time, no, it would have parking requirements.
It would have parking requirements.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of the catch-22 you get into when you're dealing with historic buildings. Oftentimes an old downtown, this is a 100-year-old building, it's been there, and it's generally lot line to lot line development. When it was built, we had streetcars and might not have had many cars in the city, and so that presents a challenge. How do you park this thing in the future when redevelopment? And so that's the point of the adaptive reuse ordinance. We want to protect these resources, and the adaptive reuse ordinance will attempt to do that. We'll be talking about it more in about a month. We'll be talking about it with P&Z committee on Wednesday. So that's the desire, of course, is to keep the historic buildings in the city and maintain historic character. A 60-foot building there, wouldn't necessarily be out of keeping with the existing character. It would be, a loss, I think, to lose that building. But once again, their intent is to reuse the building.
That's true. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Abbott. I believe Mr. Williams and Dr. O'Quinn.
Okay. Apologies to the applicant, but I just want to take advantage of this opportunity to request a formal update, probably in committee of the whole, on the various framework planning processes, across the city. There's several that are still outstanding. And at the same time, I would hope that there would be some discussion of formal city council adoption of the city center master plan. Thanks.
We can definitely do that.
Thanks, Councilor Quinn. If you allow me, Madam Chair, I do like the idea that you've asked for that. So we have either April or May, and we could work with you. I'd love to see that as an agenda item. Thank you.
Councilor Williams?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick note on what I've seen from Shoal Engineering, or this is a personal observation from Shoal Engineering over the past, I guess I've been here 5 years. They have done an excellent job, in my opinion, of keeping to their word in their developments. I know that we have a lot of developers where we approve things and developments look a little bit different from then when they come to the council. But that has not been the case with Shoal Engineering. So, Mr. Shoal, thank you for your consistency in both what you present to us and the end product, because it is noticed by those of us that pay attention. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments? We have a motion and we have a second. I think we're ready to vote.
All right, Mr. Clerk, we'll call for the vote. That's it. Woods is out. All right, thank you. That item passes. We appreciate you, Mr. Gambriel, and the developers for bringing this project to us. And thank you, Madam Chair, for leading us in these two public hearings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
A resolution essentially the vacation of 18,509 square feet of the right-of-way that is located parallel to and between Daniel Payne Drive and 38th Avenue West, perpendicular to between the SIPCO Industrial Drive and 47th Street West by Chris Cooper and Henry V. Graham II on behalf of Boyd Brothers Transportation and DP Industrial Partners, LLC, owners, so that the owner can consolidate the property and hearing of all interested parties, case number SUB 21-84.
Motion.
Second.
All right, thank you. I'll turn this over to our chair, Councilor Smitherman.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Tim Gambrell, I serve as Chief Planner for the City of Birmingham. This is case subdivision 2021-84, and it is a resolution to determine whether the City Council will give its assent to the vacation of 18,509 square feet of right-of-way that is located parallel to and between Daniel Payne Drive and 38th Avenue West and perpendicular to and between Isipco Industrial Drive and 47th Street West, so that the owner can consolidate property and whether such vacation will deprive other property owners of such right as they may have to egress and ingress from their property. The 1/3 right-of-way vacation fee has been set at $10,426.73. On January 12, 2022, the Subdivision Committee of the Birmingham Planning Commission recommended the approval of this vacation to the full council, and on February 4th, 2022, the Public Improvement and Beautification Committee forwarded this vacation to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody here to speak for or against this item? Are there any councilors that have any questions? Okay, thank you. Do we have somebody? Oh yeah, come up. When you come up, can you state your name and your address?
Good morning. I appreciate your time. My name is Henry Graham. I'm here on behalf of Graham Company, 1801 Fifth Avenue North, Birmingham, Alabama, 35203. We're the developer on the project, and I just wanted to thank you all for taking this into consideration, and also use this as a time to thank the city for also working with us to look at the improvements that are needed along Isipco Industrial Drive. Ireneo Johnson and Griffin Lassiter in the Economic Development Office have been fantastic, and we are very excited to see that road be repaved. The first building of our development is out of the ground and will be completed this summer, and it is 100% leased, and so we are excited about this allowing for us to start on a second building there along Egan Road, and excited about bringing new jobs to the city of Birmingham.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Anybody? Any colleagues? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Councilor Williams.
Mr. Graham, who is the gentleman in the blue that's sitting with you?
That's our general contractor, John McCary.
Okay, thank you. Good to see you, John.
Councilor Tate,
yeah,
you ask your question.
Because I know Daniel Payne Drive, and that is like District 9, that little area. What's going up back there? What kind of development is happening back there?
Down Isipco Industrial Drive along Egan Road, there is new warehousing distribution space being developed on some land that has been controlled by Isipco for the last 100-some-odd years. They finally decided to sell it and let it be redeveloped into something useful for the city.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other councilors? Okay, Madam President, I call for the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll call for that vote. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Councilmember Clark.
All right, thank you. That motion passes. Next item.
Item 22. Ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or the chief of police to apply for and accept grant disbursements from the Law Enforcement Support Office for the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs of excess personal property from the U.S. Department of Defense, including but not limited to equipment such as tactical gear, electronic vehicles, weapons, etc., received from the SO 1033 program or used by the Birmingham Police Department for the law enforcement purposes. The city is authorized to pay not more than annual participation membership fee for the participation in the program, and authorize the mayor and or chief of police to execute and deliver all documents necessary to receive disbursements from ADECA, including any grant agreements with ADECA and DOD for a term which shall not exceed 3 years. And item of permanent operation, I need UC.
Motion for UC.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion on the item.
Second.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any other information we need to share on this one, Chief?
Unless the council has any questions or concerns.
Any questions, Council? I don't see any indication.
I do have
All
one.
right, Ms. Abbott, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what kind of, do we have any idea when we enter into these agreements what kind of equipment we'll be getting, or is it just a good luck kind of?
Morning.
I'm Sergeant Norwood, Birmingham Police Department, currently assigned at the Academy.
You speak up, hold your mic up just.
Here to answer any questions you have on the LESO 1033 program.
Okay, so I just wanted to know if you know what kind of equipment you'll be getting, or if this is just like whatever.
Currently, we have 70 items on the controlled list that range from Humvees to 5-ton personnel carriers. We have an older version of a armored personnel carrier, currently broke down. We have a $350,000 robot for our bomb squad. Types of equipment is just about anything you can imagine that you can get in the public, from computers, boots, paper, bullets.
Okay, so they send you a list of what they've got and you tell them what you'd like to have, or?
No, the way it works is it's called the RTD, Revitalization Network. You go on there. The items on the list are really number-based, so you have to research what you want. Not as simple as just requesting something and getting it. It has to be on the site for us to requisition. So we put an application in. It's approved by the DLA, and it's sent to the state for approval. And then we pick it up, or we'll have to have it delivered.
So are you going to get that robot?
We already have the robot.
Oh, you have the robot.
We have the robot.
Oh, that's cool.
There was MTVs, there's all kind of equipment on there that the department can use. But this is also a system that you have to every day and look to see what's actually available. 1,000 law enforcement agencies on this site.
Okay, thank you. I just wondered how it worked. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Quinn. I believe he has a question.
Yeah, so putting this in common language, is it appropriate to say this is like a Army surplus for police officers?
If you've been to a surplus store, many of the things that are there, we can also acquire for free.
Right.
Not have to purchase it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, sir. We'll call for the vote.
I want to see that robot.
Yeah.
Councilmember O'Quinn.
Dr. O'Quinn.
All right, that vote should be.
All right, thank you. That item passes. Happy shopping on that list. Thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Item 23, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and our chief of police to execute an interlocal cooperation agreement for a period not to exceed 3 years with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency for access to use of Elias Aspen encryption software to be used by certified commercial vehicle enforcement officers of the Birmingham Police Department to perform driver vehicle inspections on commercial motor vehicles, and authorizing the mayor and our chief of police to execute and deliver all documents necessary to accomplish the purpose of this ordinance. And again, this is an item of permanent operation in UC.
Okay.
All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I move the item.
Evidence, Pro Tem Smithman?
Yes.
All right, the item is before you.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. If you would just give us any information about this item, any other information? Do we have any questions, counselors? Questions? All right, thank you, Dr. O'Quinn. Hold on, Counselor Tate.
It's just authorizing the BPD to be to conduct DOT safety, like Department of Transportation. So that's what this item represents.
I thought it was conducting software.
So, Chief, would you just tell us what this item is, please?
Yeah, I'll let Mr.
Introduce.
I don't know who he is, but okay.
Good morning, Councilwoman, City Council. That's correct. It allows our officers to conduct commercial vehicle inspections and enforce state violations on commercial vehicles. Currently, we are unable to do that because our officers have to be properly trained on inspections or to look for things of that nature. As a matter of fact, our regular patrol officers can't even cite commercial vehicles outside of the normal moving violations. This allows officers to go into more in depth into the inspections, logbooks, height, equipment, things of that nature that we currently cannot enforce.
Thank you. I do know we have two questions. Hold on. Excuse me, Council Clark. Dr. Quinn had a question.
Yeah, so just to clarify, this is something that has been in existence already that our officers are doing, or this is something new?
It has been in existence. The officers that were originally trained on this retired or went into other departments, and so that's when we lost that training. We've done it in the past. We just have not been able to for lack of training now.
How many personnel? I mean, has it just been the one person up to this previous?
In the past, we've had as many as 8 or 9 lost through attrition. Now I think we've just trained 2 more, and we're hoping to get more online with this training. Usually our interdiction or our officers that are assigned to special units are trained in this because they're not limited to where they can travel to enforce these laws.
Okay, and so this would require, I assume, special vehicles that would be, so that they could transport scales and things like that of that nature to?
No, sir. No, sir. No normal patrol vehicles can handle it. The scales are normally the stationary vehicles. They use the scales at the stationary buildings. The officers won't deal with weight. That's something different. They're unable to calculate the weight of the vehicles. They can inspect equipment, logbooks, restraints, lighting, other vehicle off-truck routes, things of that manner. They can enforce those laws. They don't go into weights. That's something that ALEA actually deals with.
Okay.
Thank you. Council Clark.
Thank you, Madam President. So I heard something earlier in the pre-council, and you just said it too, off-truck routes. If we have a roadway that connects a neighborhood to an industrial park, but it's not built for trucks to be on, but they take the shortcut, and it's something they repeatedly do. Is that something that this group would be trained to do enforcement around?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam President. How many of our interdiction officers have LPRs on their vehicle? Do you know?
I don't have that answer, Council.
Okay. Majority of them, small amount, large amount?
I don't have the answer.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't have that answer for us.
Thank you.
Apologies.
Thank you. Any other questions, councilors? All right. Thank you so much. At this time, we're ready to call for the vote. Did I not? Oh, sorry. Sorry. All right. Thank you very much. That item passes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
And again, there's no action needed on these next 2 items. Item 27, receiving the notice from the Office of the City Attorney pursuant to the provisions of 2-3-27 of the General Code of the City of Birmingham, 1980, as amended, authorizing the City Attorney upon recommendation to pay the judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the lawsuit of Sharon Alexander versus City of Birmingham. 900-938, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accomplish the payment judgment in an amount not to exceed $44,460. And item 28, unless we got some discussion, is that permitted, Attorney Key? Or we just give it notice? Okay. All right. Item 28, receiving the notice from the Office of the City Attorney pursuant to provisions of Section 2-3-27 of the General Code of the City of Birmingham, 1980, as amended. Authorizing the City Attorney upon recommendation to pay the judgment rendered in favor of the plaintiff lawsuit of Ashley Bryant versus City of Birmingham. And number CV 20-903-400, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accomplish the payment in an amount not to exceed $600,000. Next item is 58, which has been withdrawn. And then 79, 77. That's an emergency purchase notice. Item 77, receiving the emergency repair notice from the purchase agent relative to the roadway repair located at 2900 block of 15th Avenue North. And item 78, resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to execute an emergency contract with Alabama Grading and Excavation LLC Birmingham in the amount of $50,000 for roadway repair in the 900 block of 15th Avenue North, and authorizing the purchasing agent to extend the term of the emergency agreement for up to 90 days in accordance with Title 39 Code of Alabama.
So moved.
Items.
All right, thank you. Any discussions or questions regarding this item? Thank you. At this time, we'll call for the vote. All right, that item passes. Next item.
Item 79, receiving the emergency purchase notice from the purchasing agent relative to the 5 Points West Regional Library roof. Resolution authorizing the purchasing agent to execute an emergency contract with Tecta America, Birmingham, in the amount of $11,725 for capital improvements to the 5 Points West Library located at 4812 Avenue W, and authorizing the purchasing agent to extend the term of the emergency agreement of up to 90 days in accordance with Title 39 Code of Alabama.
Second.
Got the second, I can't remember. Councilman Clark.
Pro Tem.
Items before you.
All right, thank you, councilors. Any questions regarding this item? Hearing none, we're ready for the vote. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. That item passes. I think that's all for our agenda today. Thank you so much. Councilors, at this time, we did have one request to speak. I don't see the individual in the audience. That was Cedric Hatcher.
Bro said y'all ain't finna forget me.
Good morning. How are you?
To the council as well. Glad to be here. Another day the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Not mad in it, not sad in it. Hey, y'all, just had something in my heart. And you know, when it's in bro said heart, it's going to his head and it's coming out his mouth. On Friday, y'all, we honored Dr. Fred Shuttlesworth, and it was well needed, well deserved, 100-year birthday. Oh man, that was just a pleasant thing to do. But today, bro said, I want to talk about dishonoring Fred Shuttlesworth, dishonoring Abraham Woods, dishonoring Calvin Woods, dishonoring the Birmingham barber, Mr. Armstrong, dishonoring Colonel Stone, dishonoring Arthur Shores, dishonoring Reverend Porter, and so many other unsung heroes in this city, and dishonoring about 300 black pastors that we have in this city. Where you going, bro, Sid? We're going to get there. As I see Dr. Wilson on TV telling me he got a plan to stop the violence in our communities, y'all, it's ludicrous. It's deceitful. When we just had clergy from around the city to reach out and say, I want to get involved, we want to help. Not only were they clergies, y'all, they are men and women of God that have buried some of these young people, that have comforted their family for years, and we said, no, we don't want to be bothered with them. We're going to work a deal out with Dr. Wilson, and he can do a better job. Well, let me tell you what Dr. Wilson can do. Dr. Wilson can get a grant quicker than we can. Yeah, Dr. Wilson can communicate with some of y'all quicker than we can. But I want to ask Dr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson, about 7 or 8 years ago, I had to go to a crime scene over on Tuscaloosa Avenue. A young man was killed in front of his mama, and the blood got all over his shirt. And as I hugged that mother to comfort that mother, when I got in my car and I got home, blood was all over my shirt. And I said, God, where this blood came from? I said, God, where this blood came from? He said, bro, sad, because ain't too many people finna do what you doing. ain't too many people finna do what you're doing. He said, that's why you got that blood on your shirt. He said, because the blood is on your hand if you don't do what I tell you to do. Now, we might can appoint people, but we can't anoint nobody. We can't anoint nobody. I'm in Psalm 115, Psalm 105, verse 15. He said, touch not thou anointing, and do my prophet no harm. Let me get intimate with two of y'all as you're buying some of this kind of stuff. Bro Woods, pause for the call for a minute and think about your family history. Just think about who your folks is. And we go along with this kind of stuff. Just think about your folks and how long they did what they did. Did it till they got tired. Brother Calvin's still here with us, thank God, but did it till they got tireless. Sister Smillerman, think about your folks. Think about your folks. I've been out there kind of protesting with your dad throughout the years. Been to work with your mama throughout the year. Think about your folks. And we come down here with all this stuff, y'all. We got to stop this kind of game, y'all. Sooner or later, let me tell you, Matthew 24, I'm in verse 8. He said, when will the world come to the end? The disciples asked. He said, take heed, no man deceive you. That's the first thing he told them. Take heed, no man deceive you. How you get deceived, bro, said? Number one, from a pulpit. Take a Bible and deceive folks. Take scriptures out of context. Because the Bible said, Timothy said, 2 Timothy, I'm in chapter 3. He said, in the last days, they're going to have itching ears. Want to be entertained. You're going to get a new car. You're going to get a new house. God finna bless you. Oh, he did a prophesying to me. And most of it prophet lying, not prophesying. Second way you get deceived, through politics. That's how you deceive folks. You go out there and do what some of these folks did. You go out there and get all these poor folks to vote for you and campaign for you and make these promises. And when you get elected, you ain't studying damn one of them. You ain't studying damn one of them. Your business is the business interest and who you can get connected to. Y'all know who you should want to get connected to. Get connected to God. Because we're going to leave here one day. And all I want to hear, I might not hear what some of y'all say about me. He loud, he crazy, he broke, he fake, he this and that. But I just want to hear well done. I just want to hear well done one day, y'all. Because bro said you was real. Your intent was real. Your motive was real. Enough is enough, y'all, to go over these men of God, these women of God, and talk about this man gonna come save our community. That's sad. And let me say this here, Brother Quinn, Sister Abbott, and Brother Williams, this ain't about black or white. Everything ain't about black or white, but it is about wrong or right. It is about wrong or right. Some stuff just wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And to think this junk that we're seeing on TV, let me ask you this here, because I heard this guy say in front of camera now, what we're going to do, we're going to go to UAB and we're going to counsel the gunshot victims. How can you counsel a dead person? Most gunshot victims go to UAB, they never walk out. They never come back out of there. Oh, bro, said study the crap that he do. They never come back. And I've been shot before. When I got shot, I didn't want to talk to you. I wanted to talk to the person that shot me.
Thank you, bro said.
No, don't thank me, bro said. You let them business folks stand up in 30 minutes.
Well, we will.
Because they had money.
Bro said.
And they were talking about opening up a business. Now, bro said, gotta hurry up and shut up.
I'm not trying to shut you up. I'm just trying to follow the rules. If we could have anyone that would like to increase the amount of time that we're allowing, please do so.
Motion to suspend the rules for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, look out for you.
Thank you, bro said. You have 3 more minutes.
Hey, y'all, it gotta sound hilarious sometimes. Bro said it's real, y'all. Bro said it's real. Let me tell you the first thing people do. Don't go against the church, y'all. Don't do that. God called the church. I'm in Matthew 16, verse 18. Upon this church, upon this rock, I will be on my church. I told my church that Sunday when I brought my message. It ain't our church. God built the church, y'all. God have anointed some of these people for the job. Y'all know why the violence getting really out of control? Because we ain't using who God told us to use. We using our little buddies, our little friends. We appointing some of them. And you can't put a roof on the house if you're supposed to be cutting the grass. You can't be a plumber and you're supposed to be laying carpet. That's why we ain't getting that done, y'all. We ain't got no gatekeepers. And the little people that's out there trying, we don't pay them no attention. We don't pay them nothing. This ain't against Randall. I came up here when Bear was here, when Arrington was here, when Kincaid was here. Only thing I got person with Randall right now is I can't call him like I used to. I don't need to say it no more. You know what I mean? Yeah, y'all know it's true. You know, let the truth be true. I'm in John, I'm getting on out here. 8:32. You shall know the truth. And the truth shall what? Well, somebody been in church up in here. Yeah, somebody been in church and the truth shall set you free. Y'all, we gotta stop some of this stuff. And the reason I call you out, Bro Woods and Sister Spiller, because I believe some of y'all folks have said, nah, you ain't finna go along with that. Nah, they ain't finna deceive you. Nah, they ain't finna play that game with you. No, we fought too much. Y'all, somebody died. Somebody cried as they beat them people on Bloody Sunday and on March 7, 1965. A lot of people died for us to get where we are, and we got so far to go. We come this far by faith, but we got a long way to go, y'all. Let's not get here and get these little jobs and wear these little clothes and go shake hands with folks and forget where we came from. I'm in Deuteronomy 6 and verse 12, and I'm getting on out of here. He told the Israelites, he said, now when you get over, don't forget, I brought you out. Not your education, not your money, not people you know, but I brought y'all out. But what they did just what some of us doing. Soon as God was blessing us, we forgot where we came from. God bless y'all. I'm closing.
Madam President, Brother said, with all due respect, as the chair of public safety, I invited Dr. Woods here, and I do want to echo and piggyback off some things that you said. One thing about me that I'm not overlooking anybody in the city, because I'm very strategic on who I partner with in this city, and I have been adamant in saying this to the counselor as well. One thing that I do know, that being a child of the Lord, that I'm very strategic when it comes to clergy, people in the city that's proclaiming to do the work. Because what I feel in my heart, if the people was really doing what they say they were doing, I think a lot of things would have been curtailed by now. When you have people that have churches on every corner in the spectrum of the city, and the city looks like a third world country, I got a problem with that. And so it shouldn't take the level of violence for preachers or leaders to come out and want to be a part. We cannot do this by ourselves. I'm not going to sit up here and say that we can do it by ourselves. But what I'm strategic in doing is making sure that we partner with the right individuals. You have your own people that are exploiting their own communities and people in community. Right? So for people to come down here and say that we flying people, we didn't bring Dr. Woods here. He came here on his own dime. And so I do know that what he does is stand up, and we need data and research and evidence-based practices to lead this city in a safe manner. What I'm saying for me is I'm going to make sure that I partner with real folk that I know gonna come out the pulpit and do this work. Not come down here and try to bully counselors into giving you money, and then the city's still in a disarray. I got a problem with that. So I'm partnering with real people. I know the players, I know the shysters, I know the nonprofit industrial complex, people that live off nonprofit, because you won't go get no job. I'm well aware of you. And so I respect you, and I know that these men and women on this, what I'm here with on this bench today, I know that we are very concerned is what's going on in the city. I have enlightened them on some of the people that they need to keep an eye for watch on. Because every man that's told in the Bible ain't called by God. They exploiting their own communities, because if you was about this, why these communities still the way they looking? So I'm in agreement with you. But, you know, I'm just saying, when I take the time out to look for evidence-based practices, talk to Councilor Smitherman and my colleagues about safety, I'm very concerned. My nephew was shot at 22 times last week. So I'm real concerned about what's going on in this city, and I don't want people to think that we not concerned. But I got my eye on who I know I'm gonna make my connections with. You know, I was talking to a brother yesterday that I know is a credible messenger. Some of these people got real street critics. That's who they listening to. They stopping violence every day. That my council don't even aware of half of these people who doing this work. So I agree with you. Quit time. People like right here in this city, come down here to City Hall, raise all kind of sand. And I don't see no results out of what you doing. I look for measurable outcome. Because if you want to sustain your nonprofit work, the city is not your funder. Nobody's funder. You got to be able to sustain your work beyond the city of Birmingham. So if you're trying to get philanthropy dollars to continue the programs that you're trying to do, you need to be sustainable. People need to be sustainable in doing that. Because I said last week, and I'm going to say it again openly, you got to produce to get something from me.
Well, you think the doctor going to volunteer his work?
The doctor is...
I heard him say y'all going to give him $2 million?
The doctor didn't say that.
People get some more millions of dollars.
No, he did not say that, bro.
I think I might have heard wrong.
Not that doctor that came here today. He didn't. He didn't.
Dr. Wilson.
He didn't say anything about no money.
Dr. Wilson. Okay. Dr. Wilson. Hey, let me ask you, just saying something. Chief Roper told me one time, and I'm not boasting y'all, but Chief Roper told me, said, bro, said, if it wasn't for people like you, we'll have way more murders than what we got in this city. If you want to stand out there with that sign and walk around these streets every day, it'll be more killing than that going on. Let me tell you, he's not over there right now. Set the spots and sits right there sometimes. I've been in probably dozen schools with it. I've been around all these jails where they're speaking. And I asked myself today, bro, said, why said this spot calling you to go do that? Because he knew this might be the man for a job. If I ain't never been hungry, how am I tell you how being fed? If I ain't never been on a game, how am I tell you about a game? If I ain't never shot nobody, what I do about getting shot? If I ain't never sold drugs, did none of that kind of stuff, I'm talking a foreign language to you. I told William Bell, and I promise I'm finna leave y'all alone, that he had a political job to do. Bro said got a biblical job to do. I'm gonna do mine and y'all do y'all. Now we continue on and act like I ain't heard that bro said today, but I believe God will speak to some of your heart and said we know he wasn't lying. He just didn't get no amen. So let me take care of that. Amen, bro said.
Thank you, bro said.
Amen, bro said.
And what I will say, bro said, I'm talking today from James 2:20. Faith without works is useless. And so what I also want to say, I agree with what you're saying, but please know, everybody who is shot and harmed does not die from as a result of it. My child was shot 4 times. By the grace of God, he lives and he's at work. And so we're here with you, but please, when you come to address us, would you please follow the decorum? And we want to work back and forth with you, and we allow you. And that, thank you so much. And we do the same. Thank you,
Don't tell
Bro
said to sit down. We let these business folks stand up here 30 minutes and deceive y'all like somebody did when they built all that stuff. Y'all see where that flood came downtown? I'm going to tell you why. Because Matthew 5:45, it rained on the just as well as the unjust. This time, the rain came downtown.
Thank you, Bro said. That ends our speakers list for today. At this time, we'll entertain comments from each of you. I do know that we spoke earlier and we did have an opportunity, 7 of us did have an opportunity to attend the National League of Cities meeting and the CCC meeting, and I believe PIO has created a video to just chronicle some of the opportunity we had when we were there meeting with other municipalities and leaders in other cities. Well, I had the opportunity to be here with the National League of Cities, their annual conference where we get to engage with congressional leadership, other members of city councils, other mayors, and so this has been a great opportunity to talk and work with them and talk about solutions we can make for our cities. Of course, we have the ARPA dollars that are going to be very important to our communities, so it was most valuable to me to talk with Congressman Terry Sewell and other leaders of how they'll be using their ARPA dollars and how we can make those work for the city of Birmingham.
Hi everyone, this is Crystal Smith.
Council, District 6. Wow, what an amazing week we had last week. We were in Washington, D.C. at the National League of Cities Conference. It was amazing meeting all those different city councilors and mayors, and we had 7 city councils to go. Wow, that's amazing. Everybody was like, oh, City of Birmingham is in the house. So we learned so many different tools, like federal grants for stormwater. I know you guys saw all that flooding last week. Homelessness, education, affordable housing, anything that you can think of. And it was such a delight to hear President Biden speak. So in the words of President Biden, don't keep the faith, but spread the faith.
It's also been an opportunity to tell and converse with other leaders about what Birmingham is and what it isn't. And we have a rich history in Birmingham. We have a great city. And so it's been important to me to share that story as I've talked among other leadership across the United States. Had the opportunity to hear from President Biden, had the opportunity to also hear from Nancy Pelosi. So this has just been a very, very important trip, again, to talk about Birmingham and what our needs are and how to find solutions for some of our issues. For me, it's the opportunity that we need to get back, get to work on our ARPA dollars and how we want to spend that funding so we can share those projects with leaders like Congresswoman Sewell. She'll be able to allocate and appropriate funds to the city of Birmingham. So to take that knowledge back of what we learned, what other cities are doing, and we can bring that and put that knowledge into work into the city of Birmingham. And I'm so happy that I had my colleagues here with me, as well as we also had our staff with us, and they've had this opportunity to engage in the networking, the workshops, the learning that has been afforded by making this trip. So we're thankful to the citizens of Birmingham for allowing us this opportunity, and we'll bring that information right back to you.
And for more from the Birmingham City Council, follow along with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay safe, Birmingham.
Thank you very much. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the governmental affairs team, Mr. Hilliard and Alana and Ms. Milton, that helped us and guided us. They worked with the logistics. A huge amount of kudos to Mrs. Kidd and Mr. McDaniels. We couldn't have got back and forth and had the opportunity to experience some of the things that we did without their guidance and their logistical experience in getting us to and fro. So we thank you. During each of the council's comments, I think some councilors would like to just reiterate on some of the things that they learned while there as well. So we'll start with you, Councilor Clark. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I think you all said it all in the video. It was quite an experience, and learned so much. As if we ever needed a reason to eat, you can now support Birmingham Parks and Recreation by eating at Ruby Sunshine, the breakfast restaurant, from now until May 30th. $1 from every purchase of their delicious crawfish cake Benedict will be donated to our parks. Birmingham Parks and Recreation invites preschool and senior citizen groups to McClendon Park Soccer Field at Legion Field Stadium on Thursday, April 14th for an event called Bridging the Gap. It's an Easter egg hunt. There will be an egg hunt, giveaways, free refreshments, and more. All free. The fun starts hopping exactly at 10 a.m. and lasts until 12:30 p.m. For more information or to register your group to attend, you can call Lisa at 205-919-2686. Also, Space 111 is promoting their summer arts camp, and there are scholarships available. And, the fees are based on a sliding scale. And you can visit Space 111's website at www.space111spelledout.org to register for art classes or find out more about the summer camps and arts education programs. For Women's History Month, Birmingham Civil Rights Institute is having something called the Women Gather, and that's on March 24th, 2022 from 6 to 8:30 p.m. It's free and open to the public, and it's a night of poetry, dance, and music performed by local women artists. And this year's program is in honor of one of the original women who gathered, Mrs. Evelyn Dilworth Williams. Okay, now to the more routine announcements, but no less important. Tonight, the Bush Hills Neighborhood Association will have its regular monthly meeting at 6:30, and to get the Zoom link, you can go to bushhills.org. And we continued the Be Litter Free campaign in District 8 this weekend, with not just one, but 2 cleanups. Inslee Highlands didn't want to wait for us, so they're doing their own thing, but we're very happy about that. So they had over a dozen neighbors to come out and help beautify with a mini cleanup focusing on 33rd Street. And so we want to thank leaders like Joyce Christian, who wholeheartedly embraced Be Litter Free, and continue to have smaller cleanups on an ongoing basis. And we had a really big cleanup in the little neighborhood of Thomas. And we had over 50 volunteers cover a 3/4 of a mile in 2 hours. And we picked up over 1,700 pounds of trash. That was pretty astounding. And I don't want you to think that Thomas neighborhood is that dirty, because the interior of the neighborhood is really clean. It's the access road to the industrial park and a ditch that runs alongside the railroad track where we were able to pick up most of this trash. And so we'd like to thank Alonzo Darrow, who's the Thomas Neighborhood President, Pastor William Brad Cummings of Mount Hebron Baptist Church for their leadership in co-hosting the event. We also want to give a special shout out to Sanford Gives Back, who sent an army of students, and Wade Sand and Gravel for providing the refreshments. And, we couldn't do this without our ride or die key partners, always by our side: Black Warrior Riverkeeper, Hands on Birmingham, Keep Birmingham Beautiful, and the Municipal Court. Our next cleanup is going to be in Bush Hills on April 9th. We'll meet at the Alma Dennis Park. Ms. Streeter likes to get started early, so registration will begin at 8:30, and we'll get the work started at 9. So stay tuned for more about that. And thank you all so much.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Councilor Wood. More.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, NLC was a great experience. Definitely thankful for the opportunity to be able to go. As Councilor Smitherman or Pro Tem may mention, had an opportunity to speak to some of the folks from EPA along with Councilor Clark. And it was a good conversation, and look forward to continuing that. Also got a chance to go to a session about homelessness, which was very eye-opening for me. One of the things that was kind of top of mind for me before even leaving and going to the conference, because this was a issue that was taking place in one of my neighborhoods in District 4 around encampments. And just understanding how to better address those situations and how to help people who find themselves in those situations. And so it was very eye-opening for me just to be able to have the right mindset when approaching people, because they are people. They are people. And so I think that was good. But then also it was really good also to just see the youth council that other cities have implemented, where young people, high school students, are actually serving as counselors or mini counselors in their cities, and able to represent the interests and concerns of their demographic and their age range. And so that's definitely something that I want to be able to bring back here and implement. Was grateful for the opportunity to celebrate Dr. Fred Shuttlesworth's birthday last week. Got an opportunity to go to speak at Bethel Baptist Church. So thank you to Pastor Wilder and the rest of the congregation for having me. Was also able to go and speak to Woodlawn High School and Hudson K-8 and share with them information not only about Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, but also about this Citizens Handbook. Got to give big shouts out to the PIO team for constructing this just guide for local government. I think this is something that not only could be beneficial to students in school, but also to myself, and as well as anybody else, you know, neighborhood associations, anybody trying to make sure that they understand local government. I think that this would be a great tool. They did a really good job at just, you know, identifying all the roles and responsibilities of each level of government and how citizens can get involved. And so it's definitely something that I'm going to be sharing, you know, to different constituents and people in the city. So thank you, PIO team. Also, you know, let me see. We had, I had a, I'll just do this one. So wanted to encourage everybody to, especially my colleagues on the council. I don't know if this is something that had been done in the past, but I mean, I saw it. I just think it would be a good idea for us to put up our neighborhood association meetings, days and times, and, you know, any links that may be associated with it onto our landing page on the calendar that's there. I know sometimes it could be extremely cumbersome to be trying to figure out how to say all these websites and phone numbers up here on the dais, but if I could just direct you to my website and say, hey, just go here, check the calendar, you can always find it and add it to your calendar as well. I think that would be a little bit easier for folks. So just wanted to offer that up as a suggestion. And then lastly, had a resolution, wanted to move for a resolution in celebration of the 90th birthday of Mr. Rufus Smith Jr. You know.
By saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, thank you. So Mr. Smith is a longtime resident of the Norwood neighborhood. He's been a pillar in this community since 1972. Mr. Smith shares his profound faith in God with parishioners at Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, where he served the Village Spring Manley District, New Era Progressive Ministry, New Era Progressive Missionary Baptist State Convention of Alabama, and the National Baptist Convention of America in his denominational work. Say that fast 3 times. A special birthday celebration will be held in his honor at the Harbert Center, downtown Birmingham, on Saturday, March 26, 2022. So definitely want to say happy birthday to him, and we celebrate with you. And I think that is the conclusion of my announcements. I know that Kim and the rest of the PIO team have a couple of videos, but we can wait to show those after everybody has made their announcements.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Counselor. Counselor Abbott.
Thank you, Madam President. The Planning and Zoning Committee meets tomorrow at 3:30, and we will have one item, I believe it's only one item on the agenda, and that is to talk about changes to the zoning ordinance to make redeveloping historic properties easier instead of as difficult as it is now. So I think that that will be something that's very useful for the city in trying to maintain our historic structures, of which we have a pretty good number. And it's just heartbreaking to see things like what happened to Quinlan Castle, you know, having it be demolished. You know, we need to take care of what we've got that's historic. But anyway, so that's tomorrow at 3:30. And then on last week, Dr. O'Quinn and I had a Zoom meeting with Kareem Creighton, and we agreed on changes to the maps. So we were hopeful that those changed maps would be put on the City Council site, because the changes that we agreed to make were things that the neighborhood people, you know, asked for. And so that was good. That was a good meeting. And then on Saturday, the St. Patrick's Day parade was held, even though St. Patrick's Day was on Thursday. You know, you can't have a parade on Thursday. So it was on Saturday, and lots and lots of people came out. It was a beautiful day. It was really a lot of fun. And it's not such a long parade that you get worn out walking it. So that was great. And The organizers of that parade do such a fantastic job every year because it's like herding cats. You know, everybody's just milling around and then all of a sudden they whip them into shape. But that was really a lot of fun. And Sheila Chaffin, who is president of the 5 Point South Neighborhood Association, she dressed up as a, what am I thinking? Leprechaun. Gosh, blank out. Anyway, she looked like a leprechaun. She had the most fantastic outfit I've ever seen, and people wanted her outfit. But since she's only about 4 feet tall, you know, they couldn't have it. But anyway, it was really a lot of fun, and she did absolutely. She was the best dressed of the whole parade. It was pretty cool. The guys with kilts were okay, but Sheila, she took the prize. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Bandit. Dr. O'Quinn.
Thank you, Council President. I want to start by making a motion for unanimous consent so that we can consider a resolution recognizing an event on Thursday, March 24th at Railroad Park called Resources at Railroad. It's a mental health and wellness resource fair from 4 to 6 p.m. at Railroad Park. There'll be food trucks, school performances, yard games, 95.7 jams, and more, sponsored by the School of Mental Health coordinators from Birmingham City, Fairfield, Jefferson County, Leeds, Legacy Prep, Midfield, Mountain Brook, and Tarrant. So motion for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Second.
And move the resolution.
Second.
Aye. All right. Next up, Fountain Heights Neighborhood Association meets tonight. They are meeting in person at 6 p.m. at the Fountain Heights Rec Center. Crestwood North Neighborhood Association meets also tonight at 6:30 p.m. at Girls Inc. at 5138th Court South. The Transportation Committee will meet on Monday at 2 p.m. The last time we met, we had a agreement that had been brought to us that involved ALDOT and Alabama Power to address lighting on various state routes across the city. So they're going to be coming, hopefully, to give us more detail on that. And finally, I just want to speak briefly. I can talk to it more extensively at the Transportation Committee meeting, but I thought the National League of Cities conference was fantastic. Got to spend a lot of time speaking and learning about transportation issues. I'm particularly excited about the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, which, among other things, includes $66 billion for passenger rail and freight rail improvements. There's $1.75 billion available for low emission or no emission public transit vehicles. There's, amongst the rail improvements, there's $10 billion available for infrastructure improvements, safety improvements at crossings, $5 billion for EV charging, and just, tons of other things that we're really excited about and already in conversation with our federal lobbyists and grant writers about positioning the city to pull down some of those resources. So looking forward to working on that over the next few years, actually, to make those things happen.
Thank you, Dr. O'Quinn. Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Madam President. A few things right quick. Number one, I want to congratulate our Huffman High School. I know we're always talking about Huffman High School here, but I want to celebrate the cheerleaders who brought home their sixth consecutive championship this year, last week. And so they took the trophy in the small varsity first place small varsity game day, overall 2022 cheer champs, and the first place in the individual competition. And so we really run a very rigid athletic program over at Huffman High School, and we're continue to invest and encourage the youth to really excel. Seeing them have opportunities to lift those trophies year in and year out is really touching. We're going to plan something for them to celebrate, so we're very excited about that. The Huffman Neighborhood Association meeting will be Monday, March 28th at 7 p.m. They're still meeting via Zoom. And Archwell Health, a primary care facility for seniors, and Roebuck will be having a health and wellness open house on Saturday, March 26th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can call 205-336-1535 for more information. And like I said, we're easing back up there. This was one of those throwback meetings today. We really got deep, but like I said, we're here as long as we need to be to get things done. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Tate.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to echo everything you all have said about NLC. It was a very great experience, networking and listening to all the twos, and as Dr. O'Quinn said, the billions of dollars that are out there to bring back to the city to make a difference. And I'm going to be real short. So neighborhood, we only have one neighborhood meeting tonight. Dolomite will meet via conference call at 6 p.m. The dial-in is 602-580-9525. Access code is 3789426. And we have 4 cleanups going on this weekend. East Thomas meets at 9 o'clock at Wilkerson Elementary School at 116 11 Court West. 35204 North Pratt starts their meetup at 10 at the Pratt Library at 500 Dugan Avenue, Pratt City. 35214 North Birmingham meets at 9 a.m. at the Old McDonald's, 3220 26th Street North. 35207 Eden Ridge also will have a cleanup, and that meetup is also at Wilkerson Elementary School as well. April the 9th, the Wylam will have a cleanup, and so the meetup is the Wylam Corner, 9 a.m. at the Bank Street, 700 Bank Street, 35224. Public Safety Committee meeting will be held today at 1 p.m. here in the council chamber, and those that can hang around can get an opportunity to listen to Dr. Woods and their presentation. The next meeting will be Tuesday, April the 12th at 1 p.m. You can submit your agenda items to Brenda McCray no later than Thursday, April the 7th at 1 p.m. And that concludes my announcements, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know where Council Williams went, but I'll call.
Thank you.
I'll read his announcements. For District 2, Crestline will have a Zoom neighborhood meeting. It will, well, actually, never mind, because these dates
They may be old.
Yeah, they're old. Well, we had a good time in Washington, D.C. at the National League of Cities. Councilor Quinn kind of summed it up, and Councilor Moore as well. We learned a lot of good information, especially about broadband accessibility, which is something Madam President has been an advocate for the last 2 or 3 years. So making sure that you all still have accessibility, especially for our kids. We talked to our fellow partners about funding our port and airport, which is a hub for economic development and revenue for us. Flood mitigation. We went to different workshops, one in particular, building a healthy, supported, and trained workforce, how ARPA can help your community invest in worker education and training, making your community more energy-wise, safer streets and rail crossings, affordable housing, we talked about that a lot, and improving your community's water infrastructure and anything environmental. So we will take some of those ideas and talk with the mayor's office and see how we can improve a lot of our issues without going into our general fund. And I think the importance, I want to say, why we need to go after federal dollars, because really we need all the money we can save in our general fund to pay for street paving and sidewalks, all the things you guys want. So this will allow us to use additional money without hurting our finances. So hopefully we will be able to be awarded some of that money. The next Budget and Finance will meet this Monday, March 28th at 3:30 p.m. Submissions are due Wednesday, tomorrow, March 23rd by noon. Email submissions to Laquita Wilson and AJ Gray. The Woodland Park neighborhood will have a cleanup this Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. We will meet at McDonald's in the Heritage Town Center, located at 801 Denson Avenue Southwest 35211. I definitely will be out there picking up all day because this is the neighborhood I grew up in, but just trying to encourage people to clean up more. The Shadow Line Memorial Gardens does maintenance for the grounds every Saturday from 8 to 12. Come out and help maintain the grounds, located at 1600 12th Street Southwest, Birmingham, Alabama 35211. Also, the USFL will be having their youth games this Saturday from 10 to 12, and this Sunday from 1 to 3. Ages 5 to 3 will learn from experienced coaching staff and players on how to incorporate individual and team drills into both offensive and defensive strategies. I'll make sure that we put that on our social media and on my social media as well. And also make sure to support the USFL in general when we have the games. Colleagues, I would like for it to have a resolution of sympathy. Give me 1 second. For the transition of Christine White of District 6. She went to be with the Lord. Many of you know Christine, Chris White, Roger White, who organized and implemented the Titusville Development Corporation, TDC. Her mother-in-law, Miss Gregory White, was the choir director for 6th Avenue Baptist Church for many years. Taught at Old Man High School, which is no longer here, and piano lessons at home for years. May God bless her family, as it's a difficult time for her two daughters. So I would like to move for the resolution.
Second.
Aye.
So move.
Second.
Aye. Thank you all. Let me see. Woodland Park has a neighborhood meeting this Monday at 6 p.m. It will be virtual. Visit our website, d6bham.com, for that information. Also, just want to remind my colleagues and the public, we will have a redistricting public hearing next Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. at the Crossplex. Also, District 6 had a hostage situation in Titusville yesterday. Very tragic situation. My condolences to everybody that was affected by that. And I do want to thank the police officers that helped out with that situation. So we will continue to focus on the safety, public safety, and not only District 6, but the city of Birmingham. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Pro Tem. Just announcements for District 7. We do not have any neighborhood meetings scheduled for this week. The World Games are coming. Also, the USFL, they will begin to play their first game in April, on April 17th. I was very excited to hear of the community engagement that the USFL is taking among our youth here in Birmingham. So we're excited to see them coming. The administration committee will meet today at 2 p.m. Hopefully we'll be able to meet in the council chambers. I know we're following very closely on your meetings, so we'll make any arrangements if we need to, but that meeting is at 2 o'clock, and we may have to just change the location. Also, I do want to just echo all of the comments that have been made so far about our visit to the National League of Cities. I think you can see as citizens from the reports, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of opportunity to engage with other leaders, bring back ideas. I'm just very excited about some of the one-on-one meetings that a lot of the councilors were able to have within the different agencies of federal government. I believe those ideas will be brought back, and working with the administration. We did have also an opportunity to just get an overview of what federal grants we may have an opportunity to go after. And again, from all the items we talked about today, stormwater, crime, just the community revitalization, changes to our infrastructure, we know that it's going to be all boots on ground, all money on the table. So we'll be looking at multiple opportunities to bring those dollars to the city of Birmingham and to make the changes that we need to do with our infrastructure. Councilor Woods, of course, you do a very good job in keeping us abreast of what's going on at Huffman High School. So I want to thank you for that. I would just like to say during the cheerleader competition, the Winona High School cheerleaders, they didn't bring home the big trophy, but they did bring home the runner-up trophy for small division. So I'm excited for our cheer chicks over there at Winona. And I just wanted to say that Ramsey did get first place team competition in game day competition for large squads. So we can see that we have a lot of talent in all 7 of our high schools and our middle schools. So congrats to all of the cheerleaders and the coaches. We thank them. I do just want to reiterate again, and we had an opportunity today where we put back out the speakers list. And I just want to remind citizens that to come before the council, it is an ordinance that the council enacted in 1980, and it has specific requirements for the decorum, what we should be discussing when you come before the council. And when you fill out the sheet and give us your name and your address and your phone number, there is a section on the form that says item number / topic. When you address the council, it should be at this time based on item numbers or agenda items or topics that we are discussing at that time. And so I just want you to be mindful when you fill out that item, if you'll just be sure to be inclusive of what you're going to speak to, so that we can use that as information to allow you to address us. So we want to hear from the public, but we do ask that we follow the guidelines that have been established in our ordinance so that we can have the conversation and the dialogue back and forth so that we can listen to you and hear from you. And I do want to remind you, we do have neighborhood meetings. We have offices that are more than open to talk with you and hear your issues. Thank you very much. Councilors, if no other comments, I believe Councilor Moore wants to take us home.
I just had two last things. Wanted to give a big shout out to Councilor Woods for taking up the Man Up Breakfast. That's going to be a huge deal. I know when I had an opportunity to work at AG Gas and with some of the young men, it was a big event for them. So just wanted to celebrate you on that. And then also to the ladies of the council, y'all got an opportunity to do an interview, and if anybody has not checked that out on CBS 42, please check that out. That was a big deal. So, yeah, congratulations to y'all.
Thank you, Councilor Moore. Well, having no other items and completing our agenda, if I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you all.
Wait till everybody get here, and then I'll just kind of set the scene as to what we're doing here today. We have this opportunity to read to kids, but we really want to make it cool. We really want to make it fun, something that they can enjoy and that they'll have a good time with. But we're kind of struggling on how to make that happen. I got these invites to go to different schools to read stories, but I'm really kind of struggling.
Yeah, getting kids to read is getting harder and harder. We need new solutions.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
I don't know, but
we've tried almost everything.
We have, but there has to be something else that we can do.
We can't give up. Something will come to us.
I wonder if there's a librarian that could help us.
Hey, counselors, I heard you guys were struggling, trying to figure out how to read to students.
Yeah, harder and harder to get them engaged and keep them reading.
I know. We're all struggling with that. As a grandparent, I know that for sure. Hey, but you know what? The Birmingham Public Library, we have people that can help you. You ready?
Ready. Y'all ready, boss? Ready. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town.
That was good. good, but we got a lot of schools, man. You think they got anything else?
I'm hoping that they do. I mean, it definitely was a good example of what we could do.
Yeah, I think we need some more help.
Okay.
They got more heat. We could heat up the whole city.
Say hickory, dickory, dock. I'm always on the clock. I love taking lunch. I eat chicken a bunch. I pretty much like to munch.
But look, we got a lot of schools, so yeah. I wonder if they got any more heat, because we need to reach all the kids.
Yeah, we got to do something else.
I wonder if they got somebody else. Let's see. Yeah, they got to, right?
Yeah.
Do y'all have anybody else?
Bring it! You forgot to bring it.
Right. About to tell y'all about these Fudnutler brothers.
D4 finest.
Hear me out.
Go more.
There are so many things that you really should know. That's why I'm bothering telling you so. You should know about the first names of the Fudnutler brothers, who like to pile each on the heads of the others. If you start at the top, there's Bipper and Bud, and Skipper and Jipper, and Jeffrey and Judd, Horatio, Horace and Hendrix and Hud, and then come them Woody and Denty and Dud, also Fitzsimmons and Frederick and Fudd, also Slinky and Stinky and Stud, and down at the bottom is poor little Lud, but if Lud ever sneezes, his name will be Mud. Let's go.
It's a rocket in my pocket.
Hey,
I'm never gonna stop it.
Don't stop.
City going like a rocket.
Man, we up.
To the top, we won't stop it. Hey!
There's something going on every day at a Birmingham Public Library, but we're celebrating National Library Week, the week of April 7th, and that evening we're having an event called a novel tasting. It's a ticketed event. It's our first gala fundraiser to benefit the programming at all Birmingham Public Libraries. It'll be craft beer tasting, wine tasting, silent auction, live music. It's going to be a lot of fun, so you can visit us at cobpl.org for ticket or sponsorship information.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate this, and we look forward to a lot more of the cool things that you all have going on. Oh, yeah. Let's go.
1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish.
Hey.
Black fish, blue fish, old fish, new fish.
Got all the fish.
This one has a little star. This one has a little car. Say, what a lot of fish there are.
There you go. Bars. You got all the bars. Today we're here at Hudson K through 8 school. I had an opportunity to speak with some of the 8th graders here. My name is Councilman J.C. Moore. I'm still getting used to this whole councilman thing, but I wanted to come and speak to you all because I feel like you are the leaders of the next generation. The goal for me is to make sure that young people understand how to be civically engaged and how to really put a demand on the people that represent them, right? We can't expect for young people to know at the age of 18 when they graduate from high school who to vote for if we've never done our part to educate them. I want y'all to tell me what y'all want to see done in this community, and I want y'all to come out there and help me, just like I'm going to come out there and help y'all. Try to spread this message of inspiration through pivotal leaders that we've had in the community. Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, the contributions he made to the city, and just, how it correlates to them today. Like, ain't nobody finna roll up on them, ain't nobody finna say nothing crazy to them. Like, that's you? That's you? Okay. Definitely want to make sure that young people know that number one, know that neighborhood associations are a place for them to be involved and to get engaged, that they know that at the age of 16, they have the opportunity to vote in their neighborhood associations, but then also that at the age of 18, they have the opportunity to serve as officers for their neighborhood. Now, I understand that all young people won't serve as officers, but at least it puts them in the space to be able to learn from folks who have more experience, who've done this work, and we can begin to kind of start passing this information that's going to be needed for the future. We need to be able to glean from the wisdom and experiences that our leaders have had, and this is a way for us to pass that knowledge down.
And for more from the Birmingham City Council, follow along with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay safe, Birmingham.